You. Welcome to the October 28th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Southampton Planning Board. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021 and until January 15th, 2022, all of the board's meetings will be held remotely via video conference. So we ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information. Please join in for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Gloria, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Chair LaFaro,
Present.
Vice Chair Finnerty,
Dennis, you're muted.
Present. Sorry.
the Secretary is here. Board Member Zuccarelli,
Present.
Board Member Long,
Present.
Board Member Catalinato.
Present.
We have a full board, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Any minutes to approve?
Yes, July 8th and July 22nd.
July 8th and 22nd. Can I have a motion to accept as approved by Robin, second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. They are approved. So we have a full agenda posted on the town's website for today's meeting. The town's planning staff, as well as applicants and their representatives, will be participating via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. Charles Certain will be muting and holding the speakers in a virtual waiting room until it's their time to give testimony before the board. A reminder that applicants and their agents should state their name and address for the record. As is typical, there are no public comments allowed during our daytime meetings, nor is it appropriate for the public to use the chat function to comment on applications. The link to participate in this meeting via Zoom can be found on the town's website. This meeting is also being live streamed on the town's website on the town clerk's meeting portal. If you're having difficulty accessing the meeting, please visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Board members who must recuse themselves from any application will state so on the record and will be removed from the meeting until the end of the discussion and vote on the application. Finally, in accordance with the legislation, this meeting will be recorded and transcribed at a later date and will be made available to the public. Thank you. So we're going to close out the afternoon session and go into the work session, the bridge, staff housing. Claire, who is here for that?
Jake Watkins.
Jake is coming in, I think. Yeah. Well, he just declined. I don't know.
Declines?
I'm trying to get him in there. Jake, don't decline. There you go.
Great. I'll just begin. Just a little backgrounds on this. Yeah, you can hear me, right? It is an application, a modification application that was submitted to the planning board a month ago or so, and we brought this before the planning board on the October 14th meeting. You had a bunch of questions with the application, so you thought it'd be better to have it in a work session so you could ask those questions and understand what is going on with the project. Just in summary, there's been back in the 2000s, there was an approval for an employee housing on this property. It granted approval for 47 beds in a building for employee housing. And then last year, 2020, you received a pre-submission application and then consequently a site plan application to relocate some of those beds into units, individual units, onto the property in the same general region, and then an additional maintenance building for the property. So that was put through the pre-submission process and the site plan process. They are now proposing a building that is 3,900 square feet, approximately, and that is proposed for additional units, beds to be relocated from the existing structure into an additional structure with to provide employee housing for the property in an area that's south of the proposed and being constructed maintenance building on the property. So do you want me to show you that on a plan?
Right. I mean, I just have a couple of general questions to help us understand.
Okay.
The original building that housed staff was approved for 47 beds.
Mhm.
And we had an application which we approved and was processed for those pods. How many people were moved out of the big building into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I had the applicant prepare a map that actually showed that. This is the elevations. I'm sorry. Can you see that on the screen? That's the elevations. I think the plan before this shows it. So this is like existing.
Can't read that at all.
Yeah, no, I'm going to zoom in, but I just want to, before I zoom in, I just want to give you an idea what this means, okay? The one on the left is the existing. This one is what you just approved with you can see the maintenance building here and the pods here, and this is the proposal. So before I zoom in, you're going to see the numbers here. That's going to answer your question here, okay?
Can't read it.
I know, I'm going to zoom in. Okay.
Okay.
Let me do that. I'm not perfect here. Let's just see. Let's see if I can drag it. I don't have my typical mouse, and I'm doing this on the.
Just drag the little square block in the margin there and pull it up. It should work.
Drag the little square block.
The little gray square box.
Yeah, a little higher. There,
Go
To the right.
to the right,
to the right.
to the right.
The arrow button should work. Okay.
Above it.
Here we go.
There you go.
Can I do it?
Hey.
Okay, so the one on the
Validate.
left is the original with 40,
You can read that. That's 47 here.
47, 8 on level 1, 16, 31, 47. The pods that we just approved,
Is the 8 pods here.
so it's 47 minus 8.
Well, to be fair, everything went down to single occupancy and still is single occupancy. The
Jake, just
We're-
identify yourself. I'm sorry for the record.
sorry, Jake Watkins, Roger Ferris and Partners Architects.
Okay, so 8 minus 47, right? Is that how we're calculating this? And then the new one has how many beds? 16?
Gonna move over to that.
So
It's gonna have 16, yep, for the total of 39 here. I
How do
thought
you-
this
how
would
do you-
help him.
I'm actually still confused, and I missed the meeting 2 weeks ago, so maybe this was already covered.
It wasn't.
The math doesn't seem to make sense.
So the existing building, which is over here to the left, I'm gonna go back to it, had allowed for 47 beds. Some of them are double units. And one was a triple unit. See, it actually outlines it in the note 2. 2 beds per living unit for 22 units and 3 bed for 1. See, that's 2 times 22, which is 44.
So you have 23 units, but equal 47 beds,
That's correct.
right? So in other words, those were mostly doubles and one was a triple. That's
Right.
Beds,
Yes.
okay. Then you moved out eight people or eight beds individual? Those little containers hold one person?
They do. Each container holds one person. And we essentially took out a whole floor of the building.
You took out level 1, so nobody's
that's
there.
correct.
So nobody's there. That's what that means, right?
That's correct. Yep.
So level 2 still had 15. All right, it's confusing math. Might make sense to you, but it's confusing if you don't understand it.
I agree. I agree. It's not the easiest thing for us to present, but I guess the key part is that
Can we let's go to the third, what
Yep.
you're proposing now. Okay, you're proposing 16 units.
16 single occupancy, 16 beds.
16 beds, and then you had 8 beds, so that's 24 beds you've accounted for, right?
Yeah, so
Out
a
of-
total
out
on
of
the first,
47.
yeah, there's still 8 beds in the container units. There are 16 new beds in the current proposal, and there are still 15 beds in the original workers' housing on one level. And there is only one level now.
So that's 39 altogether.
That's correct.
Okay, so that makes more sense. So what have you got left in that original building?
In the original building, per the proposal that was approved earlier this year, is a single floor of beds, 15 beds, and a lower level of storage, office. And I think that's all that's in there on the lower
So the
level.
beds are upstairs,
That's correct.
and they're 50, are they 2 to a room, or are they individual rooms?
Individual rooms.
So you have 15 rooms in that main building?
That's correct.
8
15
in the
units.
pods and 16 is what you're proposing. Okay, that's
That's
more
correct.
understandable. Does that add up, Gloria? And does that better for your math?
I'm still confused, and the numbers are still kind of small for me, but that you've got 8. Thanks, Claire.
Trying.
My eyes.
Maybe we can go to the diagrams first. The last diagram, Claire, in the third column there.
Mhm. Okay, next time I'll have a mouse.
I could share it too if you want me to. I've got a mouse.
Does this work? Does this work?
Yeah,
Everybody
if
see
you-
that? Or do you want, we can have Jake share if you want. I'll stop.
Well, let me just, the level 1 is, those are the pods?
That's correct. On level, on the first, it's just a first floor, and those are, these are divided into 3 columns, or the 3 different structures. Living unit 1, the column that's labeled as living unit 1 is the original structure that was approved in 2010. And there are 15 beds in that living unit 1, and those are all located on the second level. Living unit 2 are the pods, and those only have 1 floor, and there are 8 units located in the pod, and that's in the second column there. Living unit 3 is the proposed new staff housing, and that is proposed to have 16 units, and that's this third column. So currently there are 23 units, 23 beds total being utilized by the workers' housing, and we are proposing an additional 16 beds for a total of 39.
So you're under, even though you've been approved for 47 beds, you're down to 39.
Yeah, we could add more beds. Should we add more beds? Yes, we're currently under. Sorry. Yes.
I'm just trying to
yes.
make sense of the math.
The level 1 row says 8 units. Then it
The
says
level 1,
row, not the living unit 1, living unit 2. The 2,
got it.
there's rows and their columns.
Yes, yep.
The level 1 row is the pods.
No.
Is-
They're keeping level 1 and 2 to mean 1 floor, 2-story buildings. That's what they mean by that.
That's
First
correct.
floor, second floor, Gloria.
First floor, second floor. So there's no more anything on the first floor, either in the original building. In the original building, it's finished, it's empty.
Well, it's looking like
Storage.
there's 24 beds in there.
That's the total of every first floor for all buildings, 3 buildings. So the second building, which just got approved, and the third building, which is proposed, will add up to 24 beds on the first floor. So there's
And then-
0 in the existing building.
In the existing building on the second floor, Glorian, there remain 15 beds. So you carry that over to the total, You add the 15 beds to the 24 beds and you get 39. I think the way this level 1 and 2 is confusing. you know,
Yeah,
the
I
First floor, second floor.
totally lost.
It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be split up. We could just say building 1 will have 15 beds remaining.
Yeah,
Building
go.
2 will have proposed 8 beds. It doesn't matter about the levels.
Yeah,
That's
building
fine.
building 1, second floor is 15 beds. Pods first floor has 8 beds,
Right.
and proposed first floor has 16 beds.
right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
correct.
probably, it could be simplified and we'll do, I think that makes sense.
But the bottom line is you're going to have 39 versus the 47 that it was originally approved at.
That's correct.
Yes.
Right.
Down, yeah, okay.
Okay, so I think one of the issues that we had was that we had not really reviewed the SECRA short form and gone down the column to see what the impacts might be, and that's what we wanted to do in the work session.
Okay.
So
Can do that.
is it okay if we just proceed with that, everybody?
Yes.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I'm recommending the short form in this case because we did the short form in the previous review. I thought that made sense. The board agrees. And in the packet, I put their part 1, so you can see the reference to the
Okay.
environmental review.
Can you put that up?
I can.
So you're considering this just as a modification?
I am, because because the beds were already reviewed, the bed information was already reviewed in terms of density. This is,
But they're building a new building. Is that correct, Claire?
yes, they are. Mhm.
And the old building is going to be used for storage, I think.
On the first floor, yep,
And
and-
still some occupants on the second floor.
correct. So
Like
this is the
15
existing
people.
building.
I'm just trying to get up to speed.
Yep, you're doing good. So that's the existing building. These are the pods that we talk about. This
Mhm.
was the maintenance area, if you can see that, and then this is the proposal right here. So we can go to their EAF, which is should be the next page. There we go.
What kind of structure would the proposed building be?
I have an elevation if you want to look at it. Do you want to
We,
take a look?
we could do it later. I was
Yeah.
just kind of curious.
Yeah, but they, Jake, do you want to speak about the material?
Please. Yeah, we're actually proposing it's a prefabricated single-story gable structure. And we're intending to clad with casement openings, windows, and then we're intending to clad it in fiber cement board.
Individual apartments, all with each, a bedroom, bathroom,
That's-
etc.
Shared bathrooms, but individual bedrooms with closets. Yeah,
How many shared baths?
4 total.
What about kitchen or?
Yeah, there's a
kitchen
kitchen space, common gathering space, and then covered outdoor spaces as well.
So one kitchen.
1 kitchen. That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
What about laundry?
Laundry as well. Yeah,
It includes laundry?
it does. Yes.
One machine or what? What's the?
I believe we're calling out, it's a laundry room that can be configured with, it's right now 2 machines. It could be configured with more, but right now we're just planning on 1 washer and dryer. We could do more. but we
One
thought that'd
washer
be
and
a-
dryer for 16 people.
That's correct.
That seems a bit sparse, but let's, do we want to ask those questions first or go into this report? I mean, does somebody have more questions? And you have enough flow for this? Jake?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
You're basing it on the flow that you got for the 47 beds?
Well, sorry, when you say flow, do you mean wastewater disposal?
Suffolk County Water Authority.
Yeah, Suffolk County Water, there is enough flow for all the units. We've the previous application, we looked at the flow because we were actually considering adding water for the storage unit that does not have water going to it. And it's more than adequate for 47 beds. And you're right, it was originally tested for that for the original approval.
What about the kitchen and the laundry and all of that stuff? How is that calculated?
Same calculation. It was previously calculated to accommodate a kitchen, laundry, bathrooms in the original application, and it can accommodate all of that.
But now we have
Because-
another building, so are we not
We-
adding?
We're not adding, we basically displaced from the original application, the original building, and are replacing it in this building.
So there'll just be bedrooms in the old building? No.
There were previously 2 floors of bedrooms, 2
Mhm.
kitchens, 2 separate bathrooms on each floor. But we took out an entire lower level of units and along with the associated bathrooms and kitchens. And those are getting displaced to this new building.
But now what about the bathrooms that you're providing for the pod complex? Weren't those people going to use the bathroom facilities in that
It's,
building?
yep, it's all based on head count. It's all based on bed count. And we're
No.
not,
Where are those people, what bathroom facilities are those people going to use?
in the pods, they each have their own individual bathrooms in each interior, in each individual unit.
Okay, because I remember originally in that application, you had them using the, walking through a little portico and using the facilities in the main, in that.
Right, that was the original idea, and that was a bad idea. Claire suggested something else, which was much better. And so now each individual pod has its own bathroom.
And what about laundry facilities for those people? And
The laundry facilities for the units in the pods still use the original housing complex.
but you said that that's not happening anymore, that you took that out.
No, there were 2 floors.
You
Each,
took out
and
the first floor.
that's correct.
So
And the-
they
and
they go in, they go upstairs.
That's
and
correct,
they
yeah.
use- And how many washer dryers are there?
I'd have to confirm how many are in the existing unit. I'm not sure exactly. I can let you know though.
You want me to put the EA Part 1 back on the screen? Good questions.
Well, let's go through that, but I mean, it just seems to me that you've got a lot of people that you're housing and we need to be sure that you're providing them with proper facilities.
Yeah, I agreed. Happy to walk through the plans more specifically. We have them up here as well. I think you'll find there's the layouts are very commodious for the people that will be using them. And in a lot of ways, having the separation and is of course, more healthy for all the individuals, but we're providing each building with its own facilities and accommodating what they need to live there.
Maybe what we should do is just look at the floor plans for right now and then go to secret.
Sure,
You mind showing your floor plans, Jake?
sure.
No?
Happy to.
That'd be great.
Yep.
Thanks.
Can everybody see my screen here?
Yes.
So again, this is the original housing complex here. These are the pods that were previously approved. And this is the proposed single-story new staff housing building. In that staff housing building, we're proposing 16 units. Each unit will have access to a shared bath, 2 bathrooms on this wing right here, 2 bathrooms on this wing right here. There will be a shared living and kitchen space, covered terrace, which also serves as the main entry, and then covered terrace on this end as well. In terms of I wonder if I have the plan. I think I do have the plan of the existing. Okay, so this is the existing building right here. There previously were showing and this is sort of a history of how this went. This is the current situation of the pods with the each single unit with having a single bathroom in each unit. And then this is the floor plan of the building with the single units on a floor, 2 bathrooms, common space, kitchen area. It's another unit right here as well. So that's how the current housing complex is laid out. And then the new complex essentially adds on to that. And this is again, the new complex right here.
Do they require sprinklers in these facilities?
They don't.
They don't.
We did not require sprinklers in the workers' housing either.
Okay. 'Cause sometimes dormitory style housing has different. If you looked into it, then it's not.
Yes. Yeah. Single story is more lenient in that regard.
Okay.
There's no fire suppression? There's no
There's not
fire commissioner is not requiring that? Has there been a referral to the fire department on this, Claire?
When you deem it complete, there will be.
But Jake, have you reviewed this? You're the architect, right?
Yes, we reviewed it. We're happy to add one if that's the discretion of the fire marshal. By code, we don't think we need one.
Yeah, he's going to follow the code. He's going to follow the New York State code. So
Yeah.
you can't just arbitrarily impose conditions.
Yeah.
And where are the, in the new building, where is the kitchen facility? In the center?
Kitchen facilities on the end.
Okay.
And the laundry?
The laundry is in one of these pods. I believe we have it in this pod right here, but I'd have to double check.
Room. These are not pods.
In this room, that's correct. Yep.
So the laundry will be in someone's bedroom?
No. This
I
is
didn't
not
count. So I don't,
it basically the bedroom, there's a full laundry room. It's a large laundry room. It could accommodate more laundry units if we need to, but there's not somebody sleeping in here and doing laundry in here. This is fully just for laundry.
because
So is that meaning that you have 15 bedrooms?
No, we have 16 bedrooms still, 16 beds.
but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Can you scroll down? It's 5, 6, 7, 8,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
15.
8 and 8.
Yeah, but
So
one
we
of them
made-
is going to be the laundry. So you've got 15 bedrooms, correct?
16 beds is what we're asking for. And one of these pods will be the laundry.
It looks like you a room short.
Yeah, we may be.
Okay, so you're just going to clarify that, right?
I can clarify that. That's
Yeah.
correct.
So, okay.
Okay, and the septic system, you're doing an IA system?
We are. The current septic system can accommodate the new number of beds, but we have asked to design a new IA system off to the rear of the building in this side right here.
Independent of it, yeah.
Independent, yep.
Well, wouldn't that be required by county code now? Because this is I would consider this a major renovation.
It may. We weren't required to do so with the container units. But just we're not trying to circumnavigate anybody with regard to this. We feel that you're right. This is a large building, and even if it's not required by code, we want to put in a good system, a new system for this particular structure.
And you are over the aquifer, so.
Okay, so the maintenance building there's no plumbing in that building.
There's no plumbing in this
Now,
building.
that's a proposed, is that hooked into this plan or was that part of
No, that was part of the original
Part of the-
plan that was originally approved. Yes,
the pod plan?
that's correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I think we can go into the secret document now, and now that we understand it a little bit better.
Yeah, that was very helpful.
Yes.
Good. I'm going to share the screen. So this is the description of what they're doing. So he's just going to clarify the number of rooms, obviously with the laundry space. I think that needs to be clarified, as you said.
Yeah, because it says 16 rooms, 16. Claire, can you just scroll back down again?
Of course.
Trying to read it. Kitchenettes, laundry, interior, nutrition. It's okay. All right, so let's go down. Can you
So
go
this
through?
is, this is the general description of the property. This is secret where it asks a bunch of basic questions to try to glean the information. So the first one is that is this a local law? It's not. Second one is permits, and it from any other government agency. Yeah, the answer is actually yes in this case, because it does need a permit from the health department in this case. So that would be the answer for that one.
So-
But that
so
you don't
yes.
usually say, oh, this application's wrong.
But-
It's just
but
they just noted it
Do
wrong.
you want to change it now to yes?
I can't. This is their application. This is their form. But just so you know, that's the answer to that. 2881 is the number of acres on the property, and then the one that they're disturbing in this case is 0.5 acres for the project. This is description of the land uses on or near the project, which is residential and commercial. So, and the proposed action, a permitted use under zoning, and the answer is yes, consistent with adopted comprehensive plans, yes. Is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing or built landscaping? Yes. And then this is an CEA, which is critical environmental area, and it is an aquifer protection overlay district. So that is the reference here. It's subject to clearing restrictions. And here is the proposed action, substantial increase in traffic, and the answer would be no. There's no proposed increase in traffic with this. This is to accommodate existing employees for the project. And so that meets or exceeds the state's energy code requirements. They generally say yes in this case. We would encourage them probably to do some solar if they could.
Yeah.
This might be
Is there-
appropriate.
Is there any anticipation of using some sustainable characteristics here?
In terms of solar panels specifically?
Yep.
Solar and anything else?
Well, I think the nature, go ahead. Okay.
Will the buildings be heated?
The buildings will be heated, yeah.
And what would be the proposal for the heating?
A suitcase VRF system, similar to what we're using in the units. We have not proposed solar panels for this project. With the tree coverage, it hasn't been practical in the past in this particular area. There are other areas on the bridge that the owner is considering adding additional solar panels, and we're looking at that, but it's not necessarily tied to this project. I think the nature of the prefabricated building and the construction time alone is sustainable in itself. But we're not applying for any kind of LEED certification for this building.
I'm sorry, but I didn't understand your suitcase heating system. What is that?
It's like a Mitsubishi. It's a Mitsubishi unit, and it's a
Okay.
it's basically, you've seen those before, right? On side of some buildings.
Yeah. Now I understand what you said.
Well, wherever you can do something, a sustainable feature would be helpful.
Okay.
We are trying to suggest that for site plans, subdivisions.
And I mean, I didn't think I could put solar on my house because I'm in the woods. And I'm basically able to provide, even in the heat of summer, all of my power from my solar panels. So I would offer not to just dismiss it because there are woods around.
Okay.
Number 10 is related to the water supply. It's public water in this area. Number 11 is the wastewater. Actually, this is another question that needs to be modified because they are doing a separate system for this. So then you just need to note that in this case. So 11 needs to be modified also. It is partially in a archaeological. The first application, I think it was waived because look, it wasn't part of the property because it's so large is in the archaeological. This portion of the property is not. So it was waived with the previous application, and it probably would be waived in this case too. And then number 13 is, does any portion of the site adjoin wetlands? The wetlands or body water? See the answer to this.
What's the explanation? Doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't add any explanation.
No, I know. That's interesting. There wasn't any water body on this. I might be mistaken.
Jake, did you fill this application out or someone else?
No, Kyle
No,
Collins did.
Yeah.
KPC planning.
I mean, I was confused when I read this that there were some yeses that I thought should have had explanations, and they weren't, and this is one of them. So
Oh.
seemed to be a disconnect.
It's been a while since I've looked at the entire property. There may be some wetlands on
I
the
think-
northern part, but I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it's 281 acres. There may be part of this that's adjoining a wetlands.
Okay. Oh, we'll have to go through the rest of it. So the typical habitat is forest, suburban, early mid-successional. That makes sense. It's grasslands. The northern long-eared bat is in the area. Is the property located in a 100-year floodplain? No. The proposed action creates stormwater recharge, water discharge. The answer is yes. Flow to adjacent properties? No. Stormwater discharge be directed to establish conveyance system, and the answer is yes. So that is contained on site via stormwater containment infrastructure per the drainage plan submitted with the application. So that is leaders and gutters, obviously in the sanitary system is proposed. The answer is no for the next one about impoundment of water, retention ponds and waste lagoons.
Wait a minute, Claire, just go back to 17 for a second.
Sure.
Referencing a drainage plan that was submitted with this application or a drainage plan that was submitted with the original application?
This application.
This application, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So the town engineer has reviewed those plans, as it indicated they have the basic information for the review for the project.
Okay.
And he's the one who makes sure that speedies is being followed and SWIP procedures are being followed.
I know this is an amended, I didn't know if we were relying on anything else.
Yes, but no, it's we're having a separate drainage plan and with this
Excellent,
application.
excellent, thank you.
No problem. And then 18 I addressed. 19 is the site adjoining property, active or closed solid waste management facility, and the answer is no. Remediation, the answer is no. And then just the prepare for the project.
All right, so we're going to get the corrections made on the ones that and where we need an explanation.
Number 2, number 11, and
Then the explanation on.
And then with the wetlands, right?
the wetlands explanation. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's 13.
13.
Okay. Do you want to have the applicant address that and bring it back for completeness at the next meeting? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And in either case, whether we consider this today or on the 18th, the next public hearing that's available is December 9th. So that would work in either case.
Okay.
I think one of his questions, I'm sorry, Jake, I don't want to, but I think you had a question about whether there should be a public hearing. That's your question. I don't know if you want to address that now or wait for the 18th.
Well, in light of the previous application, but we're happy to go whichever route you want to go. But the previous application had 0 public comment. It's about 1,000 feet away from the road. And since this is a modification of the original, I was wondering if it does need a public hearing.
Well, there are no residences about here. It's only an environmental concern, which you're addressing.
Right.
But there
So-
may be people that would want to understand the environmental concerns. So,
Could be.
But it's not near any of the residential. I mean,
But-
it will be posted, correct?
Yeah,
No, it would be
They're posting.
there's no public hearing, you would provide a 30-day written comment period, but there would be no posting on the property.
No, I'm not saying that kind of posting. I mean that if you wanted to access it, you could access it through the portal, correct?
Oh, yeah. Well, you would know it'll be online. So, I mean, that's just a question. You don't have to decide today, but consider it for the 18th, I guess,
Yeah.
the next discussion.
Well, I think Gloria makes a point, we're talking about open government here, so maybe we should have a public hearing.
Okay. And that's all I had.
Okay, so Jake, you're going to clarify the laundry facilities, et cetera.
Yeah, and there are laundry facilities for sure, and the other issues in the short form as well.
Okay.
Great.
Great.
Thanks very
Thank you
much.
so much.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
So we're closing out the work session and going into the afternoon session, and the first application is the Star Aqua Center with the pre-submission conference report. Claire?
Yeah, the 2 applicants I'm aware of who want
They're on
to
their way.
speak. That's great. Tony Panza and Tim Rumpf. So I'll just do a brief overview for you. So what's being considered today is the pre-submission conference report. There was a pre-submission conference on this application on September 23rd. It is to consider community pool on the property, which is located off of North McGee Street. Or McGee Street, I'm sorry. In Tuckahoe or Southampton, I think I say. So this is the site plan for the project. You can see the building. It's I think it's 2 stories. I did have the elevations attached to the project too.
Can you just review the access? I remember them saying that it was over an additional parcel.
Yeah, it's somebody else's property.
Yeah,
Go
how
ahead.
is that working?
So this property, and I actually didn't have the aerial attached, which would have been helpful, I think. But this property here is owned by Southampton Ventures. And you can see it goes to this point here. This area is all owned by Southampton Ventures. So they are going to negotiate the right to traverse over that property for emergency access here, but the main access, as you can see, is, sorry, slowly. Over this flagged strip that they have here, which is about 50 feet wide, as I understand it.
And
So there
have-
would be only one access for this property to be used in the future, and then this property. So there wouldn't be two accesses.
And we have no idea of how that other property may be used in the future.
We don't. Right now, it is designed as a flag strip and it's connected to the property that then extends to County Road 39, the larger piece. And maybe I could ask the applicant to provide their plans. I could look for it to, I'm not quite sure if they're here. Just say, identify
Yeah, I
yourselves.
just saw them. There's Tony Panza and Tim Rumpf is right above him.
Mhm.
Welcome.
Welcome, Madam Chair, board members, Tim Rumpf, Aris Design.
So we have a question, Tim, or either one of you, about the access over that property and the future development of that property into something else, or?
Well, we don't know what Southampton Ventures has planned, but if you remember the application for Southampton Ventures, which was a couple of different applications, one was called the Tuckahoe Center. That portion of those PDD applications showed this 50-foot access strip as a way to get to McGee Street to the light to make a left-hand turn. So as part of there was a subdivision done when the parcel that we are proposing the pool on was created, and the town bought that property with CPF funds.
There was no sub.
Southampton- Right, well,
There's
that
no
has to be,
Yes.
that has to be clarified,
Yeah.
because that was never really taken or done. So that is part of the process that we have to help, finalize. But the thought was that this, instead of having two curb cuts, one for the access to the property that Southampton Ventures has on County Route 39 and our site, it was thought that we would combine the access points and get an easement on that 50-foot access strip from Southampton Ventures to create our access point, to minimize.
Show
the
you in an
impact.
aerial. Does it help to show you the aerial, the applicant, planning board?
Sure,
You
sure.
want me to?
So that's not yet secured and it's only 50 feet, so two-way, right, in and out.
Yeah, it's the size of a basic town road that any subdivision is done and that your board approves for subdivisions. So it's, it can have enough width for a two-way access point right there. That Claire is showing you.
What is the nature of Southampton Ventures now? What is that building functioning?
I have no idea, Jackie, what they're doing or where they're going or what they're trying to do. We're not associated with them.
And where is I see the flag lot adjacent to the Aqua Center proposal. Where does that go to County Road 39?
It
Those
just
two
connects, they own
parcels,
these parcels.
They
Yeah.
they own those. There are three parcels there. The one with the motel, which is to the west, and
Okay,
then the old Gasiewski house, which is just north of that little house there. And then to the right of that is the nursery that's on County Route 39 now. And that's all owned by Southampton Ventures.
okay, thank you. What's the zoning for those properties, Claire?
Highway
Well,
business.
HB, yeah.
So what could go in there conceivably?
Commercial uses.
Oh, well, that we know, but
Like, so examples?
Special trade contractors, obviously the motel is permitted because it's existing. The house is pre-existing, but it is permitted. So office buildings, those are the typical things we've seen come through in HB zones. Gas station, technically,
Car dealership?
car dealership.
And I think it's just worth clarifying that we were only doing this to limit the number of curb cuts on McGee Street and to have a less disturbed area so that we'd be leaving the wooded area where it is rather than putting a driveway through it, because it is assumed that if Southampton Ventures ever does do something, that strip would become a road. So rather than have more impervious, we discussed with them, why not go into there? And they were amenable to it.
Can you just slide the map up a bit so that we can see the regular entrance?
Sure. Like this? So this would be where the entrance is. and then
That's
it
the
comes
formal
in.
entrance, right.
Mhm.
Well, when you say you wanted to limit the access on McGee Street, what else were you thinking about?
No,
If you
just
want-
that
Yeah.
if we were to put a driveway in the frontage that this lot has, and then Southampton Ventures comes along and says, we need a driveway 8 years from now, you would have two driveways in relatively close distance to each other, rather than us going into their right of way, and you would just have one curb cut.
So my question is, with this right-of-way and this easement, have you discussed any of this with Southampton Ventures? Because this is an important site plan issue in terms of access.
Yes, we have. And they're willing to move forward with us. And we
So
will
would they
make,
lease you the land, or they just give you
It
a,
it would be an easement that they would provide us. And we will provide all of that documentation as we move into, the site plan approval process.
right? Because access and traffic are key issues here.
Yes, they
So-
are.
And
It's important for us to understand.
Yeah,
the
and looking at the overall potential, not knowing what that might be, just adds a little complexity.
Well, we will be studying, obviously, we're going to have to prepare a draft, a DEIS for the project.
Mhm.
And part of that analysis is going to have to be the surrounding, the parcels and what impact that could be on traffic. So we're going to have to study that, and we know that. So,
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing the aerial in this case. Should you want to go on to the reports?
sure.
Okay. This is just an elevations, and when we take a look at it, I'll turn it around for you. So it's at 344 McGee Street in Tuckahoe. It's an R20 zoning district. It's in the archaeological sensitive area, and it's a type 1 action due to the number of parking spaces. The total project area is 6.3 acres, and the applications for the construction of a community pool, 27,900 square feet on the first floor and 10,500 square feet on the second floor on 2 town-owned parcels, 6.3 acres. And this describes where the plans.
Excuse me, what does it mean recreational area when authorized by a municipality?
So when you look up the definition of community pool on the use table, as they describe it, it says when authorized by a municipality. That is exactly the language that the use table references for a community pool. Okay.
And this was a zone change at all? Was it a zone change by the town board? No.
No. The zone is R20 and it continues to be R20.
And there were no restrictions on the CPF?
It's not a CPF parcel. Is it? Is
Yes,
It is.
yes,
I'm
it is.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah.
And Madam Chair, I believe Lisa Combrink of CPF has determined that this was an appropriate use.
Okay, that's legislation that has already been done and passed by the town board, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
I think it was done, by resolution. I can try and get you a copy of that.
Okay, I just think that that should be included somewhere in this. In the
Yeah, I
sense
agree.
description
Under the use,
of
okay.
the parcel and use.
I believe it was purchased for open space. But the
Well,
resolution.
we had many meetings with the town board.
Mhm.
And by resolution, they've allowed us to move forward with getting approvals for this community pool. And that's why we're in front of the planning board at this point. But there is a resolution. And I believe that, Claire, there is one in the file. So
Okay,
I believe we submitted that along with our application.
Okay, we should make reference to it just so that we have a complete history here.
okay. We can do that under the use section of this report. We'll go on to the public comments. There's a pre-submission conference, September 23rd. Public comments were received during the pre-submission conference as follows. Supports the pool, similar to YMCA in East Hampton. Traffic should not be an issue as it is sporadic and not all at once. Great location for post-surgery rehab. Supports location for children, adults, and seniors to learn how to swim. Opposed to the project. Pre-submission process premature. Should be open space. Appearance of building an issue, environmental issues, EMT who sees number of drownings of people who cannot swim. Pool is a benefit to teach people how to swim. Need of a facility outweighs traffic concerns. Would be a location to train rescue swimmers for the fire department. Comments received during the written comment period. Clarify if pre-submission is the same as a public hearing. Support the pool. It would be a benefit to the community. Traffic impact is negligible compared to the benefit to the community. And since the public hearing comment period closed on Monday, I received 2 more support letters, which I'll reference in here. They reference that they support the project. So I'll summarize that.
I think there were some negative comments about the fact that it will be a financial burden to the town because of the economic structure. So I think you need to include that.
Financial burden to the town because it's, okay, I'll double check that. I'm sorry. I don't think I saw that. But I'll add that under public, the written comments, right? Is it what it
Yeah.
was? Okay. Move on to the items to be submitted. Full site plan application, sites, lighting, landscaping, engineering plans, long form EAF. Okay, preliminary issues.
Okay.
Jackie, you have comments?
No, I'll hold it.
Okay. Project is a type 1 action pursuant to secret, seeking to be completed prior to deeming the site plan complete. Eastern portion of the overall parcel is located in the archaeologically sensitive area. So the question, if you need a phase 1 or B in this case, I think it might be appropriate.
A and B, absolutely.
Okay. 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 And then traffic and access is a potential significant environmental issue.
Can I think that go as a separate point. I think that's too significant to be put into one. It gets buried.
Yeah.
I would just make that a separate 2 and
Okay. That's no problem.
Thank you.
So the main lot, 5.9, which is owned by the town, has been deeded away from 19.1 owned by Southampton Ventures. The subdivision or lot line modification will need to be completed between Southampton Ventures LLC and the town of Southampton, which we just touched upon, that those lots were just deeded away at the time of purchase of CPF. A lot line modification probably makes the most sense. If both entities are willing to do it, it would be a simple 1-step process to do a lot line modification.
I'm not so clear on that.
I'm not following this either. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the aerial. This was all one lot,
Mm-hmm.
including this flag strip that was magically created. They wanted to retain this entity, Southampton Ventures, wanted to retain this for access to, in the future, develop this, which made sense. It's just that in order to, they need a subdivision from the planning board and the health department for that. And they didn't do that prior to the purchase, that the town purchased this property from Southampton Ventures.
How could that happen?
The town board,
Robin,
and
you wanna
it's
explain it?
happened,
Oh,
it's happened in other towns when CPF gets involved. And CPF goes out and they create a map and they create a subdivision, but then do not follow through with either your board or, we have problems with the health department because we can't make an application to the health department until the subdivision has been created. So it's, and Lisa Combrick knows about it. So it's going to, in my mind, it'll happen simultaneously as we go through the DEIS and the secret process and the site plan process.
The making of the deeds does not trigger always, unless you put in a health
Right.
department application, will not trigger tax map errors or lot line errors. I have a
Right.
property I'm currently purchasing for a client in another area, and we found out part of the property's gone. And they
Yeah.
they did it by deed, and nobody did it by lot line, by a modification.
Application,
The
yeah.
recording of the deed in and of itself is not going to trigger this. You need to, if you haven't made an application to the Board of Health for anything, nobody will find out about the tax map variations. It's
Right.
a major hole in the system between the county's recordings and ours.
Yeah.
So Claire, I think we need to separate that part out, and that has to be clarified.
But I said that they need a subdivision.
Yeah, there needs to be a subdivision via lot line modification to accommodate the access road.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
number
that's-
3 is.
That has to be completed by the town of Southampton.
Mhm.
Yep, they have to be a party to that. Yes.
Yeah.
So does the town apply for that or what?
Yes.
In this case, they would. But the thing is, it can be done very quickly, because if you're in support of it, it makes sense. Then it could be something that's done, and it has been done in the prior. If you can think of like the Bridgehampton fire station, or a couple properties that were CPF and they were good projects, but needed to be completed quickly. So it can be done pretty simply. It just needs the map to be provided. and those
Yeah, it's
things.
not going to be much of a problem because the other person who's burdened and involved in this needs this, otherwise he's landlocked. So you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
going to have conflicting, people conflicting on this. The only question I have is that strip, the property where there's a building there, that long building?
Mhm.
Oh, no, put the cursor, nope, keep going.
On McGee Street.
Wow, right next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah,
that property
It's
there?
it's a trade
Yeah, it's
contractor.
an electrician. It's an electrician's,
Okay, putting in the
building.
easement to allow for that driveway, he would have to be noticed also? I'm just, because it's going to affect what there is not being used right now. So
It's not
now
on his property.
it's not, I'm just wondering, because it's adjoining his property, do we have to give him notice?
Robin, we've already reached out to every surrounding neighbor
Okay,
ourselves and they know, they've seen our site plan, and we will continue to do that.
great.
So whether we have to notify anybody or not, the Star Board wants to be totally transparent about what we're doing, and
Which is why I'm asking that.
Yeah.
That's why I brought that up. Anybody who's affected by any movement of the property or property lines or usage is notified. That's,
we will continue to do that.
thank you.
So just to clarify in my own mind, this access strip is owned by Southampton Ventures. And you're going to arrange some kind of easement arrangement.
Yes.
The electrician, the long building, is that property not owned by Southampton Ventures?
It is not. It's owned by whoever owns it, or the electrician that owns that business. It's just, it's a lot line that has always been there.
Because
If you
they're
take-
right up against the line. I mean, is there any
Right.
setback or?
Well, that's a pre-existing non-conforming building. We're not creating any non-conformity because that lot line is there and has been there.
And is that zoned? What is that zone, Claire?
I think, and I don't have it on this. Oh, I think actually I do.
So
This is
along-
the
along-
HB line. The HB line is here.
So this building that faces McGee Street, the long
Highway
electrician
business.
building,
Highway
Yeah.
business.
that's HB?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sorry to belabor this, I just want to make sure I understand. The triangle that now is being formed up in the corner. Yeah, right up there. I'm pointing, keep going. You
To the
said.
left. To the left.
To the left, to the left.
Left.
Oh, this
That-
triangle.
That is CPF and that'll stay preserved, and
No,
what happens with that?
that's a great question. I don't know who owns that.
On the Suffolk County GIS, that triangle is part of the right of way. So it's a little strange. Suffolk County has already,
Oh,
on
this
their
is,
site, has already made it part of the right of way.
So will
What
that
right of way?
be in the lot line?
Well, what becomes that new parcel, that triangle
oh,
is
this is
part of
part
it.
of this?
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is just the zoning line. Okay.
yeah.
So the
I got you.
red line for the easement for does the lot line have modification include that triangle? And two, does the easement then go to the lines?
What our easement,
Sure, it's about that
we will,
triangle, I
we will
guess.
make sure that triangle is included in the subdivision. Then it, of that, for that access in our parcel.
Right.
The easement that we will be asking from Southampton Ventures is the right to traverse their property from McGee Street along that whole, 50-foot access strip to provide for our main access as well as our secondary access.
Okay, just let's not have that triangle sit in limbo.
In
Right,
limbo.
that's
Yeah.
right. We'll make sure that that's part of the subdivision.
In something so that there's clear delineations of what can be done with it, what can't be
Yeah.
done with it, what restrictions are on and everything else. Because again, as a real estate attorney, I see a piece of land like that and I see trying to figure out where it was supposed to go and where it was.
Problems.
Yeah, I just see problems. So
Yeah.
let's look, if we're looking at it, let's just make sure we're not making a problem with that triangle.
So I
agree.
think the
agree.
language, Claire, in what you are reading to us really needs to reflect what it is that we're saying. So that it's really very clear in the description.
Claire,
Yes,
can you just zoom in on that electrician's building one more time?
sure. Of course. It's up here. And zoom in. Okay.
Yeah,
Now you're
just-
asking for something.
Just click on that baby like 10 times. And
Yep, that was 9 many.
so there's nothing paved there, right? They're not using that portion of the building that abuts the right of way as,
No.
entry points, exit points. No cars are going to be backing up into there.
No, this is parking right here, and you can see it's kind of like double parked. But this is the main entrance on the north side.
All right, thank you.
Exactly, that was exactly my concern, was now what was on that back of that building. It was, that's why I wanted that electrician involved, that
Well,
building.
for an electrician, there are a lot of cars parked there.
There's more than one business in here, I believe.
There is.
And yeah,
I use that road a lot, so.
So it's like a garage mechanic with all of those cars?
No,
There was actually a dancing school in there at one point.
mhm.
So
As I know it, it's an electrician plus a home technology company.
Yeah, they're advertising for electricians right now. Help wanted.
Do you know why what all the cars belong to, Tim?
I think it's, they're a very big outfit, so.
They're all employees.
In compliance, yeah, and a lot of
Employee parking?
employees, yeah, it's a lot of employee parking.
And the home automation and the electrician, they're the same entity. So in other words, employees, some days they're working for the home automation, some days they're working for the electrician.
Right.
I have the same concern Craig has in terms of we're putting something in the back there. Let's just make sure we're not interfering with their usage also by a mistake.
And did we resolve who owns the triangle? We don't know.
Southampton Ventures owns the triangle.
All
So
right.
we need a separate subdivision application to establish the road access. Is that correct?
To establish the lands first, and then yes, there would be, for the access, I'll mention that there'll be an easements that will be required over the Southampton.
Just
Ventures
make it
property.
another point, Claire,
I've got a question for Tim.
Yeah. Go ahead,
I've got a
Dennis.
question for Tim. Tim, you're familiar with that light.
Yes,
What's that light look like at 4 o'clock on a weekday afternoon?
not a very nice place.
How far back does that traffic stack go?
I think it comes all the way back to Moses Lane.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've been talking to our traffic engineers, and the initial thoughts are that there'll be 3 lanes at that intersection and a dedicated lane to make a left-hand turn that'll be timed. And that's, all of this stuff we know we have to kind of, study and get into. And we've even reached out to the hospital about what's going on down at Tuckahoe Road and everything else. So we have a lot of work to do.
Has there been any thought into moving that access further into your property down closer to Moses, or is that?
Well, our initial thoughts was that we wanted to reduce the amount of curb cuts on McGee Street. And as we move further south, the intersection at Hubbard's Lane, as well as the residential properties that are to the south of the site. So it was felt that it was a better solution from a planning standpoint if we combine the access with the right-of-way access for Southampton Ventures and had one curb cut along that whole
It almost looks like
frontage.
the remnants of a dirt road. You see that going
Yeah,
up?
there is. That's the old access for the the IGHL day school.
Yeah.
What about that looks like a road in a cul-de-sac just north of Hubbard on the right-hand side?
That's 2 residential parcels.
Yeah, 2 houses.
Oh, I know, I just saw the second house, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it's more sense to be at least 75 feet here, and the joint entrance be here. That could be.
If you recall, Hubbard Lane is not. It's a series of primarily self-storage facilities. Minimal traffic.
You've got condos there.
I'm just concerned.
The one way.
I'm just concerned about the stack of the traffic.
Hubbard Lane.
Weekday afternoons. This is a popular cut through. People come down Hill Street, cut across Moses, and use the light to make the left on County Road.
And may I take that a step further? Have you been talking to DPW from the county, since it's a county road, and the timing of that light is going to be integral to have the county involved with it?
Part of, Robin, part of our discussion with the town board and our various, I think we had 5 public hearings with them, is the supervisor committed, I believe, $30,000 to do a study, the town's own study of that intersection as well. So we will be working with the town board and their traffic consultant and our consultant, whether they're one and the same, I'm not quite sure yet, that will be reaching out to the county. And I know the supervisor has had numerous discussions with county DPW on it.
Okay, so then I think the report should note so that at some point we follow up with the supervisor's office on that report. Because I think that's an important report. Somewhere's in here, I'd hate to lose that wonderful piece of information you just gave.
Well, it's part of the resolution that we were granted by the town board. But, you know, and we're going to be, it's going to also be part of our traffic study and the DEIS that we have to do. So
Okay.
we're not going to lose it.
Right, and I believe that the Suffolk County Planning Commission is going to have to weigh in on this as well.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
So under traffic and access, I could mention that if there's a reference.
Yeah, make a separate category, Claire.
Yep, so traffic and access is number
That has to
2.
Come down, right?
Yeah, and then I can reference if the town has commissioned a study in a resolution, I can reference that. That's not a
That would
problem.
be great. That would be great.
So I'll leave the new 3 as is, unless you want me to put in more language in there. The new 4, which is the use, I'm going to reference that the CPF has approved this as a permitted use on their lands, on the town designated lands. And also reference the town's resolution to proceed with the project. So the town board's resolution. So that should help clarify that. Any other thing with that? Anything with the access? Should I say the board is may look at a different location for the access depending on the traffic studies? Should I mention that?
That's probably almost a given, but it wouldn't hurt to put that in the report,
Okay.
alternate locations.
Okay.
And also that if that access road is causing any landlocking of properties, that would be the triangle. Because that's the access, if I'm correct, it's the access road is that causing the triangle or is?
No, the triangle is
But-
really part of the subdivision maybe. So
Right.
maybe I'll reference it part of the subdivision, right?
Yeah.
The triangle?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do that. Okay. And then going back to the reports. So architecture, I just described the application, the materials, and then did you want to look at this real quick and just see the architecture? And then of course, Tony Panza designed it, so he may be able to speak to it if you'd like.
See those solar panels,
Yeah,
Yes.
or solar panels.
right, Tim?
Yep.
Come on.
Okay.
Right, we made that comment at the last session, right? That
Yeah.
we'd like to see solar, and Dennis suggested electric charging stations.
Car
and-
charging stations.
Yes.
Geothermal.
Yeah, I think-
geothermal.
I think also someone may have mentioned doing solar in the parking lot.
No, car charging stations.
Well,
Oh,
there's car charging stations,
On the
but there was
lamppost.
also solar on possibly canopies
Yeah,
in
Oh, okay.
for additional solar, and it's something that we're definitely not averse to. The Star Board wants this to be as efficient as possible, so that's something that we will investigate. We certainly will be able to do the whole roof, the flat roof as solar, and if we can do it in the parking lot, that would be a great added amenity.
Yeah, so you guys are going to be operating it for many, many years. It's not like you're building something to sell it to a new owner, so it's gonna pay dividends.
mhm.
Correct.
And it's an opportunity to also show the community that this is a way to actually get off the grid and it protects the cars from the rain and snow and heat. So there's a lot of positive.
Is this all spelled out, Claire, in this pre-submission report? All of
The
those
solar,
questions?
the solar references are, and I'll add the
electric canopy, electric stations, electric
Yep.
car
It's number-
charging.
It's old number 8, yes. New number 9.
It's not up on the screen, so.
No, I know. We got away from the architecture. I just didn't want to lose that point. So did you want to talk about the architecture? Or you thought it was all good to be processed?
What does the ground level indicate? That look like doors that open, or?
The doors would be within the gabled structure. The other items is just glass on the lower
Just
level to bring
glass.
light in. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments?
So you've got all of that environmental stuff. Did we talk, what did you say, Florians? Heated
Geothermal.
geothermal?
That's normal, yeah.
Mhm. So solar and geothermal, this is number 8. I kind of skipped a couple, but we'll go to 8.
Can you put your report up, Claire, so we can read along?
Yep, but I have to then go back to clockwise. So number 8 is solar and geothermal closed system shall be considered. And I think the applicant's open to it, so I can make that reference. And then the EV stations, 1 per 20 cars shall be proposed.
You know, can I make a suggestion that you put number 8, sustainable features, boom, and then just list these, you know?
Oh, great.
Geothermal closed system, EV stations, solar panels,
On the
because
roof
it just
and
gets lost in these reports.
Yeah.
So sustainable features, make that, and then just all those subcategories.
Great, I'll do that.
It's solar on the roof and solar on the parking lot.
Yeah, that was new. I didn't know that. So solar on the parking lot, I'll add.
Mhm.
So you'll send us a revise of all of this, Claire.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah, and I like Jackie's suggestion about calling
Yeah.
it sustainable features. I
Yeah.
think that's important
Right.
to show on this report.
Great, I'll do that. No problem.
you.
Just about, so the architecture we talked about, parking is 158 and it's based upon rated occupancy. So once they've designed the building fully, then they'll have a better number on that. Sanitary, I think they're using a standard system. So I just wanted to have you discuss that.
Don't they have to put an IA in? This is after July.
Yeah, it would certainly be an IA system.
Oh, it is?
It has to be.
Okay, good. There was some question about that.
But do you not want to put in a regular central septic system, since you have so many people using the facility and it'll be used year round?
Well, we would actually leave it up to our environmental / sanitary engineer to go through the process with Suffolk County.
What systems is the county promoting now? Do we know?
I think there are 5 or 6 for houses. I don't know for commercial.
Do you know, Tony?
Um,
You work in a lot of commercial.
If Suffolk County, in many instances for commercial, doesn't push the IA, it's more out of the towns. But again, to go along with the environmental sensitivity, the STAR board would be looking to put in an IA system.
Right, but I'm not talking about an individual. I'm talking about,
You're asking about a sewage treatment plant, Madam Chair?
yes, that's what I'm asking about. Thank you. I couldn't find those words. So there were a couple that the county was proposing. One they didn't then back because it had issues. But this is a year-round facility with a lot of people working. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of bathrooms. So I think that certainly should be considered.
Yeah, so I think it's something that our engineer will certainly be sitting down with them, and we'll go through it and we'll understand what, and sit down with Suffolk County.
Yeah, you need to kind of know what the flow is to know what might be appropriate.
Mhm.
Have you calculated that at all?
The engineer started calculating it.
Do we know how many bathrooms are going to be in the facility?
Well, actually, the bathrooms will be based upon the occupancy count as well. So as we're focusing in on the program, then we'll know the occupancy count and what the number of fixtures will be required. But I don't know if the fixture count is what drives the size of the system in that facility.
Because it's how often people are going to use it.
Yes.
Occupancy.
Not the toilets.
Yeah. So we'll come back to you with the information once we were basically waiting for your report that we could then, that's our day that we can set a lot of our engineers and other professionals and let them loose to start preparing for the DEIS.
Okay,
Tony,
so
are you
I'm glad.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Dennis. No.
Are you planning on-site laundry facilities for towels and things like that?
No.
No.
So I think it's important that we're going through this step by step so that, because the more we know that you hadn't thought about it or you haven't decided, it's important.
Mhm.
So Claire, going back to the report.
So let me just, Dennis brought this up. So you have to bring your own towels. There will be no opportunity for the facility to provide towels.
Yeah, typically the facility does not provide the towel. They don't want to be in, they don't want to become a laundromat.
Service.
Yeah, I have not belonged to a facility like this, so I don't know.
East Hampton Pool, what are they doing?
Again, it's not a spa, it's a community pool, so you bring your towel with you.
You bring your towel, your bathing suit, your fins, and you swim and you go home.
No
The
showers.
fins.
But they have, yeah,
Oh.
we have showers, yeah, you take a shower, but you bring your own toiletries, your own towel, and you come and you swim and use the facility and you shower and you go home if you want to shower.
And Robin, the showers are required for a pool in Suffolk County.
Oh, thank you.
You're supposed to wash before you go in.
Yep.
Thank you.
So Claire, can we go back to the report?
Yes. So the sanitary system, I want to say the applicant is looking into an IA system, but more information will be provided to some.
No, and also a sewage treatment plant.
Or sewage treatment plants, or sewage treatment plant, I should say. Okay. And then I'll mention that the there will be no laundry facilities about the towels. I think that's important. So I'll mention that there too. Okay. We did solar, which is going to be sustainable features going forward. And then the referrals to be made part of the site plan regulations. And then the planning board finds it's public interest. So a public hearing is required. So that's where we're at now. If you would
So
consider adopting.
Yeah, but you're going to send us a revised plan.
Revised
Revised.
with all the revisions that you mentioned, yes. So you want me to go through them?
Anything more from the applicant? I mean, this is important that we not miss an opportunity to list some of our concerns, so.
Jackie, what we've been, as Tony had alluded to, we've heard, we've had 5 public hearings with the town board. We've had one public hearing with your board as well as, these 2 kind of work sessions. And just to assure the board, we are well aware of the issues around this site. We have been waiting for this report to unleash the hounds, as you might say, and the commitment that the Star Board now has close to $250,000 worth of fees to start to spend in more detailed discussions. And it's not that we're not disappearing. We're going to have, there'll be some concerns that we'll bring to the board and discussed with them through the process. So it's, again, as we were saying, we were hoping to get through this report and then start our detailed work and start to answer all these questions that have come up.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
It's just that we haven't seen all the language reworded and rewritten, so
That's
we're
fine.
adopting something that we haven't read completely.
That's fine. We fully understand.
Anything we left out that you think we should include?
There are any initial referrals that have to be made, like to the planning, Suffolk County Planning Commission, or those are all later?
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, those are all later.
Okay, I'm just going through the checklist in my head.
Yep. No, it's totally understandable. There's a lot to this, and it's a very complicated application.
Right, and the most important, I think, that we spend some time on is the access road, the easement, the subdivision that's necessary to do it before we can even look at a site plan that has an access road.
Well, unfortunately, we can only advise because it's really between, the town of Southampton and Southampton Ventures to legalize that subdivision.
That's first thing.
Can I make
Yeah.
a suggestion, Jackie, if you don't mind? Can we ask for the next meeting when we are reviewing this, the finals, that Lisa Combrick from CPF come and perhaps talk about what the CPF has to do on their filings? Because we're asking Tim and Tony, and they're telling me it's the town that has to do this. Perhaps we ought to get somebody to clarify for us how this is working with CPF.
In terms of,
The lot line
Subdivision, the lot line modification.
and the
Oh.
roadways and the easements, all that. It seems that they're a party, and perhaps we'd be asking questions to the right party, because we're asking Tim and Tony, and they're saying it's the town.
it
So
is the town,
maybe- Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe we ought to
So
get
how do we proceed?
but it's not necessarily, I don't know if it's necessarily CPF and,
okay, tell me.
It would be-
Who would it be?
usually it's planning.
You're gonna
We
make
do
the
it.
application?
Yeah.
They say, make an application, prepare an application, planning, and you do it. So it may be at the end of the day, I will be doing
Can I
the
ask a
subdivision.
Yeah, but I thought, okay, then I'm misunderstanding. I thought that this was part, that there was an omission or something that had to be repaired or amended from the CPF purchase of this property. So that's what I thought CPF.
Yes, the
necessarily
town has to be, a
critical.
town in Southampton Ventures has to facilitate a subdivision. But who's the best person to do the subdivision? It's the planners. So
Okay,
we,
so I think we need to do that first. I think that's a
Yeah.
priority.
so it will, it'll set in motion. I'll speak to Lisa. I just don't think she's necessary because she'll be in agreement that there needs to be a subdivision. What that needs to happen, I'll speak to Kathleen, town attorney's office. We'll get the ball rolling on it. I think that's probably what's going to happen. It's just the Southampton Ventures. I think the applicant here is a good facilitator because Southampton Ventures has to be part of that, and they're a
I
party
just
too.
would
So.
like to get, yeah, I just want to get the clarification. So we,
Mhm.
And Claire, can that be processed under the expedited provision, under 292-44, since one of the parcels is CPF?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I agree. I think it can be
And-
expedited. So.
And Claire, it's correct to say that it's not because of our application that work is necessary. It was supposed to have been done.
That, Tony, that was the point I was just making, that
Yeah.
you and Tim questioned on something that is correcting the original acquisition. And so that's why I'm trying to back it back up to the original acquisition.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
need
that's
to have clarity and some cleanliness to clean it up in order to proceed, so.
Yeah, one would have liked that all of that was done before there was even a conversation
That's
with
right.
Tim and Tony.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
it's
and
pretty-
Lisa would agree. If she was here, she would 100% agree.
It's
She would.
Yeah.
premature, because
Well, all I'm asking is, so the next time it's on, if we can have some specificity as to the applicant, who has to apply, what applications have to be made, and what has to be done, just so
It might already get done by
Oh.
then.
Jackie, that's, nothing.
Right.
From my lips to God's ears, right?
Right.
But is that very clear in the pre-submission report, Claire?
I say there has to be a
In order to
subdivision
pres-
facilitated by the town and Southampton
That,
Ventures. have to be a part of it.
that language is in there.
That is the new number
Can-
3.
Can you send us a report, a revised report?
Yes. Yep, most likely tomorrow. Okay.
Does the board want to wait for the next session to approve that, or do you want to approve it?
Next session's the 18th, and I would recommend, because it is a kind of a double meeting, that you know, if you can handle it today. I think we're clear. If you want me to run over what the revisions are again, I can. The board wants me to.
Yes.
Okay, so
Can you
with
put it up?
regard,
Put it up on
Yep.
the screen?
yep. I think it's just productive, so clears up your next meeting a little bit. Just if you can see the report, I'm going to add those that comments about the negative impact to the town's financial burdens that you mentioned, Jackie, to the public
Mhm.
comments. And then related to number 1, traffic and access is going to be a new number 2.
Claire, I'm
How
sorry.
about items to be submitted with the site plan? Do we want to say that a completed subdivision plan for the access?
Yeah,
Let's
that's fine.
add it there.
Okay.
Can you type it in on this or no?
No,
You
it's
can't.
a PDF. Yep,
Too bad.
I know. That would be helpful. So completed subdivision application.
All right, Claire.
I'll mention
By
that.
the town of Southampton, not by
By the town of
Star.
Southampton. Yes.
Thank you very
Could
much.
you just, can we go back one more step for a
Sure.
second? Jackie had mentioned that there might have been some letters or some community statements. She specified one. Could you just check and make sure that everything that was in that 30-day period is noted here?
Yes.
Take another review of it and make sure we haven't missed anything. Not
Yeah.
just one thing that Jackie brought up,
Right.
but
Because that's what I remember, but there might be
that's what you're
others.
remembering, but I'm,
Right.
I'll double check. I double checked this morning, which is, that's why I was a little confused. I did not see that financial burden comments, but I will double check
excellent.
and I'll make sure it's in the record. Yeah. Is there anything substantial different than discussed here? I would bring it back to you just for
Okay,
clarification.
but I just
Okay.
want to make sure it's community
Okay.
comments are noted.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so you're going to add
Add
that,
completed subdivision application to under items to be submitted.
right,
Okay.
to clarify, what's a subdivision application? Let's give a little explanation on it.
Well, they're eligible, they are eligible for the expedited. So,
No, it's
yeah.
a subdivision application, what? To establish the rights.
and I can describe them. So it's lots 19.1, and then the lot that is,
Earmarked for the
yeah,
access. Okay,
right.
so just when you write
You
that
could
in,
say to legalize the subdivision that was or the division that was accomplished by deed dated.
Correct.
that's
Yeah.
good, Kathleen, yeah.
You dated, okay. I will add that for items to be submitted. Okay, I'm sorry, and then I was talking about the traffic and access, and that'll be a new number 2, and that will also reference the triangle and
You're making
actually,
traffic a separate category.
yes, traffic and access was a separate environmental issues, potential significance. And I'll reference the town's potential study of that intersection.
Yes, excellent.
Right, and then this is the discussion about the subdivision, and this is where I'll mention the triangle that's associated with the Southampton Venture access or flagpole there. And then the use shall have reference to the CPF confirmation purchase is been given permission. And then reference to the town board's resolution related to the use also. And then access, will also mention an easement in this area. And then alternative locations may be considered based upon future traffic studies.
Right.
And then the architecture, I'm going to eliminate discussion here. You didn't seem to have any major issues with this, the architecture at this time, but it'll be reviewed. The parking is fine, and the sanitary system shall be either an IA system or a sewage treatment plant.
Yeah,
As
research,
required.
research what is,
Also, there'll be mentioned that there's no on-site laundry facilities related to that. And then solar will now be sustainable, I can't read already, sustainable features, which would be the solar for both the roof and the canopy above the parking, and geothermal closed system and the EV stations for the property. And then the referrals and a public hearing required. So that's what we've got in terms of changes. Okay.
did we cover it? Okay.
Yep.
So,
Good Claire.
excuse me?
I said, good notes, Claire.
Thank you, trying.
So we want to adopt this pre-app report?
I'm
Yeah.
recommending that, yes. I'll stop sharing, just 1 second.
Before we adopt it, can you please just advise, upon our adopting this pre-app report, what does that start to trigger on timelines and such? So we,
They have 1 year to come back for a site plan application.
okay, so that the community understands what's the next step.
Right, there's no secret clock ticking at all, no.
So it's on the now it would be on the applicant now to get us the
Yep.
site plan within a year.
Mhm.
Good,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And a long form EAF. So
Correct.
that's another one, so.
It'll take a while. So a motion to accept the
Yes, it will.
pre-application report as revised by Claire, by Dennis, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? 6 in favor. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Who's to come in
Okay,
next? Does
Anthony.
anyone know who comes?
Anthony,
anyone know who comes in next?
917.
Yeah, and item number 3 is 917 West Main, and I believe Andrew Graham is here for that.
Okay,
He's coming in.
here.
What's that?
He's here.
Okay. So I'll share screen. So this is a pre-submission conference report for a site plan special exception application at this property over here, 1 Widmere Court. This is an industrial subdivision, LI 40, off of North Phillips, subdivision that was approved in 2002. This is one of the last, if not the last lot within this subdivision. The applicant submitted a pre-submission conference for this property. What you're looking at over here is the 50-foot buffers that were established during the subdivision for the adjacent residential properties. Let me just get to the site plan, actually. So the application is for a 6,000 square foot, and this is the building here, 6,000 square foot building for special trade contractor uses, along with associated parking. As you can see on the site plan, it's pretty straightforward. We had a pre-submission conference for this on September 23rd. There were no comments that received from the public or during the 30-day written comment period. And the building is a standard Morton building. I just gave this one visual so you could just get an idea. But we have at this point the pre-application report that I'll go through. Just hold on. As that see? So this gives the project description along with the date of the pre-submission conference report. I described the project, 6,000 square foot building and associated parking. The property's LI 40 and just over 50,000 square feet, which based on that square footage would allow up to 4 5 uses on the property. It's 1 per 10,000 square feet. The comments in this report are based on the preliminary site plan and the conceptual building elevations submitted by the applicant. Before the planning issues, I should put a little section here that there was a pre-submission conference, the date of September 23rd, and that there were no comments received. So the issues related to the site plan, the first one has to do with the setback of the building. And let me show you here. Okay. So the building, which is cited right here, is showing a 20-foot setback to this property line, which is the side yard setback. However, discussions with building department indicate that because this is a corner lot with 2 front yards, and this is the shorter of the street frontages, this is actually a rear yard and not a side yard. So the setback requirement for a building is actually 60 feet, not 20 feet. So that's the first comment in the report, that, you know, they would either have to redesign this or they would have to get relief from the zoning board. It's worth noting for the board that the building envelope is very limited on this property. It's not surprising. This is the last one in the subdivision. You have a 50-foot setback over here. And then if you apply a 60-foot setback from this property line, basically you're looking at this tiny little area. And I don't know whether or not you could adequately fit a building and parking in there. But that's the applicant's issue at this point, and I've discussed it with them. So the first comment is about the setback.
So
And
they
that
have
the
an
project-
opportunity to reduce the size of the building.
Well, it says in here that the project to comply with zoning would need to be redesigned, including building size reduction and relocation. So, you know, the applicant is aware of it. I just noted that if they wanted to proceed with the plan as proposed, the planning board can't approve it unless they got zoning board. But that's about the extent of that statement. The second comment, of course, relates to the architectural features. And like all Morton buildings, we want to see some natural materials used, you know, a wooden, you know, wood, a brick, a stone, that they did on some of the other buildings in there. Natural
Stone.
materials, a prominent building entrance on the street frontage, windows along blank walls, cupolas, and so forth on those buildings. And then obviously we need a sample board of materials and proper elevations for the ARB at the time of formal application. The third comment relates to the 50-foot wide buffer, and I just wanted to show you real quick. If you look, and we did this on the site plan right next door, if you look on the subdivision map, you have this hard line that depicts the 50-foot setback, the 50-foot buffer. But the hard line it was not measured correctly from the corner of the property, which is supposed to be a radius of 50 feet. So the 50-foot setback actually comes out over here. And so that's how the site plan was designed. The map shows the buffer over here, but the 50-foot setback is actually measured to here. So there's that little bit of a discrepancy, but it was noted on the adjacent site plan and provided that they met the 50-foot. There didn't seem to be any issues. So, but I did want to point it out because it was worth just noting.
Do you have to amend somewhere so that you get a consistency?
I don't think so, because the reading of the covenant just references a 50-foot natural and undisturbed buffer. And when you measure it from the corner of the property line, the site plan complies with that 50-foot.
Okay, so there's nothing in the covenant itself that gives meets and bounds.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, I think we ought to just take a peek and make sure.
I will clarify that for you, Robin,
Yeah,
for sure.
just so that later on, we don't have a re-veg issue, you know, somebody cleared, somebody stepped into the buffer.
Yep, I will do that, and I'll add it to the report for sure.
Can you just show us the aerial one more time, Anthony? I just want to see the other properties,
Sure.
how they handled it.
Well, it's not all the properties. It's
Those
this
are
one
in.
down here. This one is straight, so it's easy. But this one down here, you can see they did the same thing. It's a radius measured from the corner. Didn't
Okay,
come together. So
Mhm,
But I'll take a look for Robin. She makes a good point.
mhm.
Sure. Um,
4.
Okay, so number 4 is about the outdoor storage. I noted in here, if they have any plans for outdoor storage, it should be noted on the plan. This is a tight site. What happens is, and we know this on many sites, if we don't designate it, they just start spilling out of the building. And the next thing you know, the parking lots are filled with trucks and materials. And so I'd like to get it on the site plan.
Okay.
Number 5 talks about the special trade contractor use as a special exception, so we'll need a special exception petition. This is an unlisted action under SECRA, so they would have to submit a short form EAF in this case, since most of the issues were identified and addressed during subdivision. The plan shows a foundation, a remnants of a foundation to be removed within the buffer. I couldn't see anything about where this foundation, when it was installed, and didn't seem to be any building permits. But I do note that it's being removed, and so the landscaping would have to account for that disturbed area being revegetated within, because it's within the buffer zone.
Anthony, excuse me, is that on city water over there?
Yes.
All right, good. Thank you.
Yep. Floor plans were not submitted, but it shows that there would be 4 uses based on the elevations provided, and that's okay based on the size of the property. It
But
indicates
if they reduce the size of the building, then they may have, or this is just the number of uses. Okay.
yeah, based on the plan that they submitted. Yep. The parking requirement for what they're proposing at this time is 20 spaces. They're accounting for 27, and that includes some truck loading and interior spaces in the building, which is acceptable. And number 10, they'll need to submit a lighting plan as part of the application. So really the big
How
issue
about
is this.
landscaping, Anthony, and landscaping.
Yes, and a landscaping plan. I will put that in here. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, as you said, the real big issue is the building setback. So we'll see how they could design this. But that's all I have for it.
Okay.
And I don't know if Andrew has any comments.
No, my clients and I are trying to figure out the best way to reconfigure this, or if we need to go for relief. So the building envelope is pretty tight when you consider the front yard setback as well. It kind of pushes you down into that back corner of the buffer, or towards the buffer.
Yep. But yeah, Andrew and I spoke, so he's aware of the issue. And unless the planning board has any other comments.
No comments. I'll entertain a motion to accept the pre-submission conference report as amended by Gloria. Second by Craig. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Thank you. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clay, you're back with the Watermill Townhouse, the soil management plan.
Yeah, Jeff Suchman, I think is in attendance.
Who was
Yep.
that?
Yep.
Charles is going to let Jeff Suchman in. So just to recap last meeting, we discussed the soil management plan, and we just you wanted to have a very complete resolution. So I prepared that. At the same time, we did get some feedback about, if you remember, back in August, you had a discussion, a good discussion on the some modifications to the site plan that included landscaping, walkway changes, and the addition of a wall and the elimination of a sidewalk along Noah Donut. So you were amenable to those changes. However, you wanted the highway department, the highway superintendent, to weigh in on that, and he suggested the sidewalk remain. He felt that the trees, which was part of the issue that the applicant had, were not long for this world. So the sidewalk was more beneficial to have. So the applicants agreed to that. So the changes are just for the additional wall on Montauk Highway and the landscaping and some walkway changes. So that's what this resolution's for. Do you want me to just go through it? Do you have any questions?
Did we ever discuss what the material for this wall would be?
Oh, that's a good point. Jeff, did you want to speak to that?
I can, bear with me 1 second because the landscape architect had given me the information. Okay, the retaining wall will be 4-foot height and reinforced concrete with a number 2 cedar tongue and groove veneer.
Okay. So you wouldn't see
Now
the
that
concrete.
They're planting.
No, it's gonna be a cedar tongue and groove veneer. Plus there's a lot of obviously landscaping, trees and stuff like that, but it's gonna be a very nice cedar.
Okay.
And are there plantings on top of that or in front
There's
of it?
plantings up the berm behind it, or the berm actually going down below it. Same tree line that we had before that was showing.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Do you want to see the plans at all, or are you comfortable?
Well, let's talk about the management plan. We have to adopt that?
Yes, that would be the first. I put it in one resolution. You could separate it out to 2. It's fine. I could separate the whereases. But the first part of the discussion is the soil management plan, which was approved by your consultants, FPM. And then any changes that were necessary, the applicant made, and is still subject to the town engineer approval at the end of the day. So that is still a condition related to that. So that would be the first resolved on the last page, page 3. Do you want me to pull up the resolution?
Please.
This is just the plan that this is the wall and the fill behind it. And I'll put the resolution now. So this description is the first part, the type 1 action, and then the condition which required the extra review with the soil management plan. And this is the discussion with the hiring of the FPM, which reviewed your projects on your behalf, and their conclusions related to that. The indicated approval on October 14th, 2021, and that's the discussion we had at the last meeting.
So Jeff is aware of the concerns of the soil management?
Yes.
Concerns of highlighting the storm drain structures?
Yes, and we are in communication with the town engineer to make sure that he gives a thumbs up to everything we do.
Okay. So that they provided, based upon these comments, they provided the updated soil management plan, and then FPM, who made these comments, approved by email dated October 14th. So that's the summary on that. And then this is the discussion for the wall, the landscaping. I'll spell out the wall, the description. I'll put that little description in there, but it's all referred to on this plan prepared by Areas Design. So I'm referring to that in the resolution. And this is the comments from the highway departments related to retaining the walkway, the sidewalks, and the trees can be removed. So I'll just reference to that.
How many trees are there that have to go?
I think there's 3. I might be mistaken. What do you think, Jeff?
I think there's 3 and 1 really bad one, so 3 living ones.
Yeah.
Are they large trees?
Yes.
They are, but they're in bad condition. Actually, at the time the highway department checked it out, they brought in a tree expert. Bartlett came in and they looked at it, and they're in bad shape.
It's too bad.
So, yeah, it is too bad. So. Okay.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah. Somebody say something?
Is somebody speaking?
Okay, so we'll go back to the report.
Okay. So this would be the resolution. And that would be to.
But on the 3rd floor.
Dennis?
Okay, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's good, Pat. Appreciate that.
You're on live. Okay,
Muted.
thank you.
And so the resolution would be to adopt the soil management plan as revised on October 13th, 2021, subject to approval by the town engineer, and also further resolved, planning board approves the modification of the site plan to add the wall, landscaping, walkway changes, subject to the town engineer approval, removal of reference to the elimination of the sidewalk, and to note the street trees to be removed, and the affidavit and successive plans, which is typical. So I'm recommending approval of the modification and the adoption of the soil management plan.
We've added street trees to the street, have we not, on this plan?
Correct. This internal street trees along this, in this project, yes.
So we okay? Can we adopt this as modified? By Dennis, second by Zuccarelli, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew, you have Stavropoulos.
Stavropoulos.
The Renier Group is already in.
Thank you. So Joe Lombardi is here for the
Joe
applicant.
Lombardi, okay.
I'll share my screen just so you guys have a good idea of where we are. If everyone's familiar, this is Candy Kitchen in Bridgehampton, right on the corner of School Street and Montauk Highway. It's a final conditional approval for a 2-lot subdivision, basically right down the middle of the shared wall of this property. Map on the next page, which is, this will be the property line, lot 1, lot 2. There is already an existing utility easement here and a access easement here between the property owner and the town. I do have a resolution prepared if I can get to reading. I know we're a little pressed for time. But we received this back on June 25th, 2021. It's a 0.3341 acre parcel in the VB WQI medium priority area, archaeological sensitive. It is improved at 2385 Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton. Lot 1 will be 6,607 square feet, and lot 2 will be 7,950 square feet. I have several findings here. Number 1, the subject project is a type 2 action, so no further review is required. 2, a pre-application hearing was held on December 12th, 2013, and was followed by a 10-day written comment period. No comments were received at the public hearing nor during the 10-day written comment period for the pre-application. The report was adopted for the pre-application on February 13th, 2014, amended on July 12th, 2018, and reauthorized on July 22nd, 2021. The final map is in compliance with the adopted pre-application report. Final hearing for the final application was held on September 9th, 2021. This was closed with a 10-day written comment period. No comments were received at the public hearing nor during the 10-day written comment period. I do have a finding about cross-access between these two parcels just for the future when this is divided. This will allow, traveling between the two parcels. If the board's not familiar, in the VB, there's no side yard setback. So, by having this cross-access, it'll allow people, who are parked here to go through and park here. And I'm also recommending a shared parking agreement. The health department approved this on May 10th, 2021. And there's no park requirement associated with the subdivision, as this application does not involve the creation of a new residential lot. The town engineer just requested some map changes as far as I can see, just to relabel the easement to access and utility easement to match the filed document and include the library and page. It says a portion of the stormwater leaching pool appears to have been installed on town property, and please confirm the location, which I've heard from the applicant. It is within the easement area. And 3, please clarify what there's 2 covers. They just want to know specifically what the covers are for. Highway superintendent did note that there was no drainage calculations. This is a subdivision. I think the drainage calculations are on here already. Joe might be able to speak to that later. Fire prevention. Just note there's a 2-lot subdivision. They know that it's 2 commercial buildings. Access is not an issue by the subdivision, and the area is served by public water. Street number for each parcel shall be posted as required by Section 505 of the New York State Fire Code. The Suffolk County Planning Commission found this to be a matter for local determination. They did recommend the cross-access. We did not receive any comments from the Bridgehampton Fire District, Suffolk County Department of Health Services, for the New York State DOT. So I'm recommending a approval with a number of revisions. If you'd like me to go through the conditions.
Sure.
Revise the map to eliminate the stacked parking, just because those aren't functional. If you see on the map, they have some double spaces here. This is a pre-existing site. There's no parking requirements, so we're just asking that this be one space. These just be 3 spaces across rather than having these double stacked. Add notation to the 20-foot right-of-way to indicate the existing utility easement and note the library page. Clarify what the cast iron cover and the grate are. Just with a note on the map, I think will be sufficient. Put the corrected offer of dedication note on the map. There's just a language change that need to be made. Submission of declaration of covenants and restrictions for no further subdivision without planning board approval. No lot line modifications without planning board approval on all lots. And 3-inch drainage covenant. That's standard. 3, post the street numbers as required by the fire marshal. Cross access and shared parking agreement for lots 1 and 2 prior to signature of the final plat. Submission of mortgage consent if applicable, title certification, town attorney approval of all legal documents, 4 Mylars and 10 paper prints, submission of all documents prior to planning board signature, and recording of the map within 62 days of signature.
Okay. Did you want Joe to answer a question here?
If Joe has any questions, or if the board has any questions of him. I'm not too sure.
I don't see Joe in.
He's in.
Oh, there he is.
I'm here.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. No, I think, the resolution is clear. We'll address the revisions that have been requested and prepare some maps for signature.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Any other questions from the board? So can I have a motion to adopt? By Glorian, motion by Glorian, second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Curtis, Heimowitz and Nussbaum, Jackie?
Yes. Hi, how are you? Wayne's actually for the next one, Charles, but thank you.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Heather Wright is actually the applicant, but Heather and I were trying to coordinate a site visit, and unfortunately we couldn't schedule that. And with the rain earlier this week, I couldn't squeeze it in this week. So she just asked for an extension to the November 18th meeting from November 10th to November 18th.
Okay. Motion for the extension? Robin, and then second by Craig, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, extension to November 18th. The next one, number 7, is the estates at Reimsburg.
Yes. So Charles, if you could let Wayne in now, and I will share the screen. So the board may recall, we discussed this in March, the applicants requesting to relocate the building that's called the Blacksmith Building. It was a structure here in a non-conforming location. The planning board allowed it to be retained here or to be utilized as a accessory structure. So the applicant is now requesting to take this blacksmith building and utilize it as an accessory structure, and more so a pool house in the rear of lot 12. So it's moving from 19 to 12. So see here, this is the proposed survey of the location. This would be the principal dwelling, and this would be where the blacksmith building would be relocated and to have adaptive reuse as a pool house. This is the elevations that were reviewed by the Landmarks and Historic Board, and then recently by the ARB, who recommended approval of the facade changes. I also, I have here, my resolution was corrupted. So I have a resolution for you, which had 3 conditions. Give me 1 second. I know, Wayne, if you want to add anything while I'm getting to the resolution, feel free.
Good afternoon, member of the board. John Borkwin for Wayne Bruin's office, 2 North Sea Road in Southampton, on behalf of the applicant. Mrs. Fenlon gave the general rundown. We already have a permit to move the blacksmith shop building to the existing site to 4 Webb Court, and there is a pending building department application for the principal house, the swimming pool, to be accessory to this blacksmith shop, or rather for the blacksmith shop to be accessory to those structures. Other than that, as Ms. Fenlon pointed out, the plans have already been passed through by the Architectural Review Board, the Landmarks and Historic Districts Board, and my office and Ms. Fenlon have corresponded on the conditions of the approval of the resolution, and we are in favor.
So I did want to, let me see here. Oh, I left it. I did want to let the planning board know, though, that we had just gone over some of the wording. So I did have 3 conditions of approval, but I have that here. So it's on the last page here. But basically, my conditions were to ensure that the property is covenanted, and that any future property owner, after they build and restore this structure, would have to come back to the planning board with referrals to the Landmarks Historic Board and the ARB, just for their advisory comments. So that way somebody's on notice that this was a rehabilitated historic structure, and that any change to the structure would be reviewed by this board. And then we would just have it reviewed by the town attorney's office and filing the covenant prior to a certificate of occupancy. Which we discussed. So I'm comfortable, if you are comfortable with those conditions, and let me know if you have any questions.
If there are no
That's that
questions-
structure quite a bit. I'm actually quite pleased that someone is going to
use it.
rehabilitate it. It's in a pretty bad state of disrepair right now. And I could speak about that parcel like it's my backyard, because it's my backyard. I go by there
Such a
all the
nice
time.
looking- Such a
It's
nice
beautiful.
looking building, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful back there. And actually moving it to closer to that cul-de-sac, people walk down there and do exercise and do like a little turnaround. And, I think that's a good spot for it.
Good. Okay, so then can I have a motion to,
I'll give the motion.
motion by Craig, second by Gloria, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Claire,
John.
you have a lead agency coordination.
We're waiting for Claire. She stepped away.
Okay, why don't we then just jump to Dave Wilcox? Is he away also?
Nope, I'm here.
You're here, David? Okay, we'll go to 10, Town Board referral on the cultural resources.
Okay, I have, I have to share my screen. Hold on a second.
So you wrote up our referral. Yeah,
Yeah, can you,
it's a little too
can you see
big.
that now?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read through this? I distributed it on Monday, I think.
Well, if there are any issues, did everybody read this?
Mhm.
I know Dennis had an issue with the one issue about the
Yeah.
remains, right? What was that satisfied, Dennis?
And Kathleen, not really. I mean, Kathleen was helpful enough to forward the unmarked graves legislation, but I really don't feel it addresses it unless there really needs to be an active coordination with the county detective squad, because what happens in these crime scenes, when these remains are discovered, they become instantly a crime scene. Yellow tape goes off and no one is allowed anywhere near the site. And by the time the archaeologist gets access to the site, a lot of his or her concerns may be compromised. So there really needs to be, I feel there needs to be coordination at this juncture with the county to convey our concerns. This would be a town board. This is a town board referral, but we should be alerting the town board that they need to coordinate with the county because this issue is going to come up.
I think that's already covered in the unprotected graves code.
I
Dennis.
looked at it, Dave. I looked at it again after you sent the email. I really don't see how it's covered.
Well, I think that would be the appropriate code to amend.
Screen. Do you have access to it?
I do, yes.
Because if it needs amending, we can make that recommendation in the referral to accommodate what Dennis is saying. You know,
Can you
great
see that?
coordination.
I
It's
see
too
part of it.
big. Just make it smaller.
But you can see the protected.
No, it's so
No,
big, it's off the screen. Go down to like 14 point up in your type
I wish I had it.
or your screen.
Let me see if I can find it. Do, 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 do.
It's too big.
Yes, it's too big. Do what you did.
Usually it's too small.
It's off the screen, Dave. So we, you know, it's.
Oh, I don't
let's
understand
reduce
why.
it.
Go to full screen.
Go to full. Go. Okay, hold on.
Maybe you want to reduce screen on the original. Just hit full screen up in the upper right, the square boxes. See what you want.
Dave, I have it up if you want me to share the screen.
You have the code?
Yep.
Okay.
Have to stop your share.
Again, I think if we're looking at some sort of an amendment, it should be to this code.
Yeah.
Dennis, was there a specific section you wanted to go to?
The unmarked grave code.
That's this. I just didn't know if it was a specific area.
Matt, if you just scroll down a little bit,
Yeah, the
talks about
procedure,
the archaeologist.
the outline
number 4.
procedure.
I see it. Everybody see that?
There's,
It says right there, 4B, as soon as possible
4B.
upon clearance.
What does 3 say? What does number 3 say?
After the town's police department has investigated the site, the assistance of any local service necessary construction.
See, my feeling is unless they've coordinated with the county, that's just words on paper. I mean, the county swoops in and everyone is kept away from the site.
Takes over.
It's over.
Yeah.
But those laws exist regardless of what the town does. If somebody uncovers human remains on a property,
I think that's a preemption issue, Dennis. I think, you know, the state penal code and criminal procedure law are going to preempt any town local code, at least initially.
I
Until they-
agree, but does the county have any availability to at least allow observation of our archaeologists? Does it specifically preclude a non-law enforcement entity to act as in observation? That was my question.
why would they observe anything before anything is found?
No. Once the remains we're
Once
talking
it's
about
found.
after remains are found.
Dennis is saying during the recovery efforts.
Well, once they find something, everything stops
I know, and then everyone's kept away.
until they determine that what sort of human remains they are, whether it's criminal.
But what Dennis is saying is that just like the FBI comes in and closes everything off, that the evidence could be spoiled in that process.
Right.
So go up to 2 here. Scroll up to 2, Matthew. So reporting of an unmarked, when a person discovers unmarked grave, it doesn't say,
they have
unmarked, immediately cease all construction activity, secure the site.
yeah.
So something in here, Dennis, don't you think? Number 2?
Yeah, well, number 2 has to be, but that's kind of reality. You're
Automatic,
the contractor who's on site, they see bones, they go, oh my God, they call
Okay.
911, literally.
So maybe we put in something else.
Something, it sort of circles around number 3 and
In coordination with
maybe
the,
there's nothing we can do. Kathleen's concerns might actually be correct, but I'm just curious if a sit down with the county, you know, the detective squad or the head of the detective squad can, once they hear our concerns, he might say, yeah, if we can vet that individual, and you know, we might require that he be fingerprinted and run a background check, and then that individual would be allowed onto the crime scene as an observer only. I'm just saying there may be a procedure that could be implemented.
Yeah, that's worth a conversation with the county.
So to the extent that the town board can do that, I think we should include some language in our report, just merely to coordinate and find out, you know, what procedures can be implemented.
The town archaeologist can be immediately present as a observer.
Yeah. Now the detectives might say, the police agency might say, no, we can't, by virtue of your concerns about your penal code. I understand that, but it's worth the conversation.
So Dennis, your concern is that an archaeologist should observe what the law enforcement does.
Correct. Yeah. There may be funerary objects. There may be certain objects in proximity to the remains that might be of importance, even to photographs them. You know, I don't know.
I seem to recall this issue coming up when the Graves Protection Law was enacted.
Oh, okay. We weren't involved in that.
And I think it was felt that it's a law enforcement issue.
But I think it's worth the comment in the referral, Dave, to make that recommendation.
All right.
And
to the extent practicable, that the town archaeologist can be invited in or participant in the process, because what Dennis is saying is, to the extent that they are released to the town archaeologist, at least that individual has been part of it since the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
And aside from any human remains, as Dennis indicated, if there are funerary objects in the vicinity of those human remains, the police aren't necessarily going to be focused on that if they don't look like weapons.
Right. All right. So this would be a recommendation to amend the protection and treatment of unmarked graves.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
To add that language. That
you could say, Dave, to the extent that 330-333 is also implicated in the implementation of your cultural resources protection overlay district, the board recommends blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Matthew, can you go back to the report, please?
I can go back to the resolution, Matthew, if you want to stop sharing. Where's my
Dave, what happened to the gap period? I saw it in some of the notes, but I didn't see it in the resolution.
Well, I don't know how you want to address that to the town board.
Well, yeah, but there's going to be a hole between, I don't know if it will be, actually anything will happen, but there is going to be a gap between what the moratorium being lifted and this law being enacted. I think that should be brought up, or at least a referral made. I thought I saw it in your notes. And then I don't see it in the resolution.
It was in the notes. Can you see the report right now?
No. I printed it.
So Dave can make that recommendation that there's concern about it.
Well, I guess the recommendation would simply be that you encourage the town board to adopt this as quickly as possible to shorten the gap.
To move swiftly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there a problem with doing any kind of saying that not effectiveness, but not, it can't be the effective date, but that's just would include any findings that you can't. I'm just so concerned. You got that time period. Something opens up tomorrow. What law does it fall under?
Well, if they discover human remains, it's going to fall under the Unmarked Graves Code. Right. If they discover artifacts, there is nothing on the books right now that would prevent anything from being protected.
So really what we want to say is that we have real concerns about a period of time between the adoption of this law and the lifting of the moratorium in which there is no protection.
Correct.
And let them figure it out. I mean, it's their legislation.
Let's
You flagged it, yeah.
don't lift the moratorium before this is enacted. We don't say that.
Yeah, Gloria, the moratorium already expired.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
That's why I'm concerned about this. It's already expired.
And then add Dennis's concern, and I think we have a report.
Okay.
Okay,
Those are easy to add as long as you have faith that I'll put them in there the way.
I think you will, David.
Okay.
Trust him, Dennis.
Faith in you.
Robin.
The town board did adjourn this until November 9th meeting. So they haven't closed the hearing. They can still consider your comments before they take an action.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
Great.
they said they were waiting for it. Yeah.
Okay, so with those two additions, do we have a motion to adopt this referral report? Dennis, second by Robin, all in favor? Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor? What? Oh, 6 in favor. Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Sorry for the technical glitches here.
Okay, it happens all the time. Claire, you're back up with NRP Group, lead agency.
Yeah, this is an application that the town boards received for a change of zone from CR 40 to the MFPRD, 17 acres for 104 affordable rental units. Do you want me to show you the plans?
This is the Strebels property, Strebels
It is
lot?
the Strebels property. So there would be a subdivision in which Strebels, this portion of Strebels would be, actually this portion of Strebels would be subdivided off, and then this portion, if you can you see that with the
Yes.
aerial?
Yes.
Great. That could be shown. I'm sorry, that is going to be a part of the development, so I'll just let you. I'm just gonna
And this
scroll
is in
down.
Quiog?
Yeah.
This is in Quiog, yes.
Are they an incorporated village?
No, they're not.
Quag is, yeah, not Quiog.
So if this doesn't bother you, this is South Country Road to the west, the north here. And then this is Strebels property here. So this is the general layout of the development at this time. All access would come from South Country Road on the property. So the action before you, and you probably will have some more comments related to the environmental issues, is the town board is coordinating SECRA with you as one of the involved agencies for the project which there's a couple, health department, DEC, and so on and so forth. So
we would just be an involved agency in this?
You're not just an involved agency, you're an approving authority for the site plan as well as the subdivision for the project. For
SECRA, we're not, right?
SECRA, the town
We're bound
board.
by the decisions that the town board makes.
Yes, but your comments are very much considered during the process, which maybe like the previous application that we just had helped the town board with, the concern application is the first time you saw that application like this one was the SECRA coordination, and you had some questions and you had some concern environmentally. Maybe I suggest taking the same tact, which is to state whether you'd want lead agency or not in this case. And then at a future meeting, kind of outline some of the issues you might have with this project, if you feel like they have there's some environmental issues.
So you're recommending that they maintain lead agency?
I am. That would be similar to.
How does the rest of the board feel about that?
I agree. I agree with that. I mean, it's a change of zone. It's clearly they're the approving authority.
Yeah.
I agree as well.
It's an important application, but we do a lot of the work anyway, and I think Anthony's, you're not on that. So forget. Got confused.
So,
Okay,
if you're agreeable, that's what we'll do. I'll prepare a resolution for today that you'll relinquish lead agency, but do you want to put this out in a future, like work session or have
this
some?
is absolutely a work session. This is huge.
So we'll have, I'll get you more information, obviously. It is on the website now, the complete application, so you can refer to it at any point. But I'll get you more information, and if we'll follow up with maybe it was like, I think you prepared like a secret outline of some of the issues that you had pointed out for the project. I think it might be.
But when? We have so few sessions.
Well, the 19th is pretty quick, close. I mean, November 18th should be pretty busy. Could be the 9th or the 16th. Do you want to pick a date now?
Of December?
Yeah.
December 16th.
16th, okay, great.
When is the town board doing their scoping on this?
That wouldn't be until when the applicant submits the scope.
Okay, because that would be definitely a place where the planning board would like to, definitely step in, because that's the scoping document, Jackie, that's where we end up getting caught. So I think we should let them know that the scoping, when they're starting to design the scoping document, we would want involvement or notice or whatever.
I can make that statement with this resolution if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay, great. The planning board wants to be involved in making comments on this, any scoping document.
Yeah.
Great, no problem.
Okay. So, motion to adopt this?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, second by Zuccarelli, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. Bridge Petroleum.
Yeah, I believe Aaron Mackey from, BHB and Chuck.
And Chuck.
Yes.
We have quite a few more to go here, so again, we have a heavy agenda.
Madam Chair, if you would like, I can hold any questions because I have very specific questions on this traffic study. And I understand that we got it all of 10, maybe half an hour before the meeting.
Right.
If you want me to hold any questions that I have until the next time it comes on, I'm willing to do that if that's the pleasure of the board. But
I do think that since we got it so late, which I hardly reviewed, that we.
I would make the point, we got it at 12 o'clock today, about an hour and 45 minutes before we would have gone.
Right. So I think in all fairness, we need an extension here to review it and
if the board is going to say that we're going to do a full review, I will hold my questions until the next time.
So do we need an extension approval on this?
You need the applicant to request an extension.
The applicant is, I'm sorry, what did you say? The
applicant would have to request the extension. You're at a secret deadline. Yeah.
So we would need a letter to have us extended. We have not reviewed the traffic statement. So
yeah, it would be that they could do it on the record. That's fine. We don't want anything in writing if it's on the record today. So Chuck, who's here, Chuck, if you just introduce yourself.
Charles W. Southern Jr., architect, 435 Bay Home Road, South Road.
What you're hearing from the board is that they need time to review the traffic.
I understand. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Okay, so we're extending it to where? To
the next available dates is November 18th.
Are we putting it on again in another long session where we're not going to be able to?
Is that going to be packed November? Can we have some sense of that agenda?
Not at this time.
Again, this is a very important application. There's a lot of questions I have on this traffic report. If we're putting on again, where we're going to end up number 9 or 10 on, and we're not accomplishing anything.
I can put this Towards the
December.
beginning, of course, yeah.
I
So can
don't
we
know.
move it to December?
This,
We have two meetings in
that's up to the applicant.
December, what is it, December 9th?
I prefer you didn't because I have another appointment on the 9th of December.
How about the 16th of December? I mean,
You've
without,
been putting this off for a long time. It's really simple if you read the end statement. All right, I know you have questions. I understand that. That's fine. But I would rather it not keep getting put off.
well, we're going to have some sense of what's on the agenda for November 18th so that we don't keep bumping into this.
We had
That's the only
discuss-
session we have. Chuck, hang on. It's the only session we have in November. Anthony, you have a lot of stuff for the 18th? Jackie, do you?
That I'm not sure.
I have some items.
Are they difficult, long, involved?
We're gonna have to have a discussion on the pre-app report that was extended today, I know for sure, but that shouldn't be too long.
Well,
If there are no work session items, it might be some manageable. Do we know if there's any work session items?
Not that I know of.
well, then
Jackie,
we shouldn't
yeah.
schedule a work session at all.
Is it too late to schedule a morning session at 10 a.m.? I don't know about noticing.
That's noticing, yeah.
It'd be a long day, but we might need it.
Yeah, there is an evening session on the 18th?
Yes, there's an evening session.
No,
No?
not November 10th.
Oh, that's November.
November 10th is a special evening meeting, and November 18th is the only planning board session that
No
we have.
public
that
hearing on
month.
the 18th? Nothing clear? Then we
There's
should-
no, because of the ZBA.
Yeah, we should think about maybe a morning session.
Well,
Maybe starting
Dennis, the
early.
town board meets in the morning at 10.
Oh.
That's been the issue.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's always our issue. We wanted to start the whole planning board earlier, but because the agendas are just so packed.
What's the difference? We're just doing it by Zoom. We don't have to worry about the rooms.
But
No, you can't.
The recording device.
You can't do more than one Zoom at the same
All
time.
right, I'm a woman. I do them more than one thing at a time. I'm sorry.
Okay, so here's the
So
thing.
what about Wednesday?
Why don't we just be prepared to work longer on the 18th?
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, if we run over 5 o'clock and we run to 6 o'clock, we run to 6 o'clock. Is everybody on the board agreeable to that?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah?
More work, less talk.
No, the talk is important. We're not a
Uh,
rubber stamp board.
Like
not a
5:30,
process
Madam
board.
Chair. Madam Chair, Charles needs time to get back himself ready for ZBA. So like 5:30, 5:40.
Okay. Okay, so we're on for November 18th, Charles.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
And we'll put you on before you have to go to the ZBA. So
Thank
a motion to extend this to November 18th by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. Thank you. And
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Thank you.
So we have 2 site disturbance issues. Becky, Wood Pines, lot 23.
Yes, Charles, if you could let Rosemary in.
He is
Hi,
in.
Rosemary. Great, thank you. Let me just share the screen. Are you all able to see this? Okay. All right, so this is just a recap. You guys were reviewing this at a previous meeting in September. You asked for pictures to be submitted, and I actually did a site visit in early October. This is a subject property here. They are proposing to utilize a development rights certificate to allow for the property to be approximately 75% cleared. But after the work session that we held previously, the board asked to see a buffer. So they have provided a revegetation of the rear buffer, which would provide a buffer to the open space and prevent encroachment in the future. So this would be a covenanted buffer. I was able to go to the site and also receive photos from the applicant's attorney. These are my photos. I was having trouble with her format to load it, but this is a subject property. I'm sorry that this is fuzzy. I must have been walking faster, but this is the area. And then I can show you that these are just houses right in the area that I was able to take a picture of. So you can see that clearing in the front yard is not out of character with the neighborhood, which I know Robin and Glorian had concerns about. There is one, that has it, but this is actually a corner lot, so their house faces the other way. But as you can see, some have supplemented their buffer, their buffer area in the front with non-natives. But with that, I do not feel that if we allow the applicant to proceed with the proposal, that it would be out of character. Some are wooded in the front, some have cleared in the front because they have the flexibility of, clearing, 50% pursuant to aquifer protection. But people basically have chosen where they want to clear and not to clear, and there's no roadside buffers. So Rosemary is here, and I believe her applicant was also going to try to be here as well. I'm not sure if he was able to make it today. But if the board is comfortable, I can put this on for a decision at the next meeting.
Jackie, are you comfortable that we're?
Yeah,
I am actually. After being there, and I met with the property owner, they have a significant lawn in the back, and talking to him, he was also somewhat plagued by the southern pine beetles. So he did have a lot of pitch pines, which are the tall evergreens that succumb to the southern pine beetle. He actually had to take a lot of those down. So he does admit that some of, that he did overclear and he's willing to revegetate. I think the buffer is a good offer. And, we were discussing possibly revegging in the front, but again, it's not out of character. So it doesn't look different to the street from any other property. So I don't think it would be a negative impact on the community. And, with buffer, this would also put every property owner in the future on notice that this is buffered, so that would show up on building permit surveys, title reports. So I think it's nice, and it's consolidated in one area and also provides as a buffer to the open space. So I am actually very comfortable now that I've been to the site and walked the property again, to move forward. So if the board is comfortable, I can write the decision for the next meeting.
Oh, you don't have it for now, just a discussion.
I don't have it for now because I wanted you guys to see the photos and
Okay.
hear from us.
Any other comments?
Rosemary, did you have anything to add?
So I think we're in agreement and so for the next session, we'll approve it. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a very technical memo. So resolution. So I just want to make sure you were comfortable before I put it all together.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so there's no action on this.
Yep. Rosemary will be on the next meeting for the decision.
Okay, can you hear us? Great.
Oh, you're on mute. Okay.
So Matthew, you're on for Bestesser.
Grundbesizer, Noyak West Lot 2, 1625 Noyak Path.
Daphne Vaughan.
Bruce Weiner and Michael Desario. This is a site disturbance revegetation application. It's an overcleared parcel already. The applicant is requesting additional clearing. They're already beyond the limit. They're requesting 1,852 square feet during construction. Just to summarize for the board, as you may be aware, it's been generally the policy of this board, once you're overcleared, you can't go further beyond your limit. I mean, there's other ways of mitigating this. Transfer development rights, reducing the size of your improvements. I've relayed that to the applicant's representative. They've requested to bring this matter to the board to discuss. I will show you the aerial, kind of give you a lay of the land here. Oops, here we go. That is the survey. So there was some historic development on the parcel. Here, this is an accessory structure. There's some clearing here as well. And this is the survey. If I zoom out and zoom in, I can show you. If you see the dark line on this survey, that is the portion, that is their proposed clearing line. The lighter line is their existing clearing. So there's additional disturbance down here for driveway gates. As you can see, the existing line is down here. There'll be clearing here as well on the edge. And also this property was subject to the fee being doubled because they did overclear without authorization during the process.
So is that green area all cleared?
This is all cleared. They're going to revegetate. This is where that historic, the accessory
Right.
structure was. So they want to re-veg here, 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 and here, and then do, some additional disturbance here.
Like that gray area? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it is the policy of this board to not allow further overclearing when the property is already overcleared. So it's difficult to make a case for that. Daphne, are you representing?
Hi, Daphne Vaughn, Surfside Environmental Planning. I'm here today with Bruce Weiner, who is the owner of the property, as well as Mike Tesario, who is the builder on the project. So there is like a background history that I believe is helpful for the board on this property. It is kind of unique. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do believe that this is important for you to render your decision. So we submitted this application initially back in May with plans for this exact same project with this exact same clearing envelope for a 2-story residence with associated porches, a patio, swimming pool, as well as the standard sanitary system, the pervious driveway, and the driveway gates that are all shown on that survey that Matt showed. The initial proposal that we submitted actually showed revegetation comprised of 13,000 square feet. At the time of filing of the application, the property was 19.3% cleared, where 25% is allowed per the aquifer protection regulations. The property is also known as Lot 1 of the minor subdivision of Grumbus Corp. And was approved by the planning board back in 1987. The parcel was originally comprised of 2 smaller parcels, and a ZBA variance was granted back in 1986 to allow for the development of the parcel prior to the planning board approval. At the time of the subdivision, the parcel was zoned CR 200, and the property was only 108,464 square feet. So it would be non-conforming to the zoning district and still is to date. So no special zoning allowances were allowed, and they were had to go to the zoning board to allow for the development of the property at that time because the lot was undersized. So during that time, that owner, which was not my client, spent a significant amount of money to develop Noyak Path, which is a trustee road. He developed it between Millstone and the subject property in exchange to allow for the subdivision to combine a bunch of smaller lots to get 3 undersized lots in the CR 200 zoning district. In 2003, the owner of this property, Mr. Kohut, actually received a building permit for a single-family 2-story dwelling, a detached garage with storage above, and a swimming pool on the property. So he started the project, but only actually constructed the detached garage from that, but continually renewed that building permit through 2018. However, in 2012, Mr. Kohut went to the zoning board for a variance to actually make that detached garage into a principal residence by removing a small porch and adding a small addition to it so that it would have the appropriate square footage to be a principal structure in the CR 200 zone. As the original proposed residence was never completed due to financial hardship. So the zoning board granted that variance, but Mr. Kohut never completed that work either. So technically, that structure continued to exist without a principal structure on the property. The lot was sold to Mr. Weiner last November, and he put together these plans. And since that time, we've been working on getting approvals from everyone. We've gone to the Environment Division for a letter of non-jurisdiction. as the property's on the wetland inventory. We've been to the health department. We've gone to the zoning board for a minor lot coverage variance because of it being undersized, that variance was approved earlier this month. And we've also received preliminary approval from the building department. The building department is basically waiting for us to provide proof that that detached garage has been demolished, which it has been and has also been inspected. They're also waiting for approval from this board. So the original 20,941 square feet of clearing was done by the prior owner back in 2003 for the development project that never actually came to fruition. I can share my screen if you like and show you that survey, which shows that sweeping a pathway that was a driveway to that structure. So the majority of that clearing still exists, mostly on that northeastern side of the lot, which doesn't really work for a new principal structure.
Daphne, can I just, you know,
Sure.
this
Yes.
was supposed to be a very brief request. We've had now a very long history of not only Mr. Weiner owning it, but several prior owners. The property is overcleared. You're in an aquifer protection overlay district to boot. Matthew, are there wetlands or is there a wetland setback issue here?
There's not. I believe they've received an NJ from the Environment Division.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out that the area that we're re-vegging on this
Mike,
property.
if you can just identify yourself for the record, please.
Sorry, Michael Desario with White Oak Builders. So I think it's important to identify that the area being re-vegged on this property and the history of this property as viewed through the aerials is that it was previously treated like a junkyard as an environmentally sensitive area that the town views as crucial to aquifer protection and critical to keeping preserved. This property shows on the aerials it was used as a junkyard. And
Well,
so now we are cleaning.
Mr. Desario, when someone buys a property, I would think that they would check all of that before purchasing it and understand what the parameters are or not.
I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is that the re-veg work that we're doing is going to enhance the most sensitive areas of this property and re-protect the most sensitive areas. We're re-vegging the area where a building that was non-conforming to the town's code has been demolished. We're re-vegging that area, and that area is at the lowest point on the property, meaning that any runoff from this building, from this development, from the property is going to run to that spot. So we're protecting that. The area, as you can see on the survey, is almost that puts us over clearing is almost subject to interpretation. We will not be over cleared at the time of CO. We're not asking for that relief. We're only asking to put back what this should be and make this a conforming property.
Matthew, do you have some comments here?
My only concern is the policy of the board. My recommendation is that the board is consistent with their decisions on these. I don't know if this would open the door or not, because then we get into the realm of allowing clearing for certain improvements, and we always run into the discussion of, I want a tennis court on my property, but my property is already over cleared, so may I revegetate here? I know this is not analogous to that, but it's similar. So that's my concern. The property has been overcleared since the application was initially submitted. So this is not, the best case scenario. I would, recommend that the board follows the policy that we've, established, that once you're overcleared, you can't go beyond or reduce the size of your improvements, or, you have the ability to purchase development rights, as we spoke to on the last application. There's other avenues.
Yeah, so maybe you need to explore some other avenues, a development right? Because, look, we've heard it, Daphne.
No, I wasn't quite finished with what I was saying. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
Well, have you considered purchasing a development right? Let me hear from the rest of the planning board. After all, we also are participating in this conversation.
No, I understand, but I didn't quite finish my factual information because what I wanted to say is when we submitted the application, I did say this actually, we were in compliance. What happened is that during the process, I was working with Matt on revising the plans and some clearing had started. The builder had gone in and started to do some clearing within the parameters of where we were proposing it initially, which was also where a prior principal structure was approved on this property back in 2003. The issue here is that the area where we're developing is not an area that makes sense with the existing clearing. The existing clearing is not located within a conforming zoning location. So the only area that we're proposing to really restore as far as the revegetation is concerned is that area where the previously existing clearing was done for that structure that was not a principal structure.
Daphne, the property is over cleared. Okay, so that's the point. And now there are ways that you can approach it by purchasing a development right. I'd like to hear from some of the board members because we have to move on with this agenda today. So, I mean, I'm not supportive of.
The development rights is pretty straightforward now. It's pretty administrative. People doing it.
Get a development right and then take it from there. Otherwise, I don't believe this board is going to approve additional overclearing. Am I?
No. I think what's being really thrown out the window here is that the existing clearing is actually like exceptionally close to where we are today, and the question comes in as to where we're going as we construct the new driveway, as we construct the driveway gates. The existing clearing. Go ahead.
Can I ask my planner something, please? Matt?
Sure. Yes.
Are we overcleared?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
At this moment, is there overclearing?
Yes.
If we granted this, would it be extending the overclearing of this property?
Yeah, they're asking for based on the survey, it's 1,852 square feet.
Thank you.
Okay, so you have an option to get a development right, but we are going to take a vote on this and
I don't know that we need to take an action.
Can I throw an option out there? This property is contiguous to protected lands. Could some buffer be created on the rear of this property contiguous to existing lands that would protect the land and it would sort of enhance the buffer of this property and make it
You have another proposal. I think you ought to meet with the planner and bring it back.
Ma'am, I'd like to say something as the owner of the property, if I could. I apologize. I've actually been trying to get in, but I didn't realize that I was muted. I'm very IT challenged, so I apologize. I respectfully, I don't completely understand all of this, but from a layperson's point of view, we're actually asking, with all due respect, for 1,800 square feet of overclearing, so to speak. I think we are prepared to revegetate anything and everything that you want. And in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but the property when I bought it was overcleared. The previous owner had built the structure. No, I'm not. So maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry. We went ahead and cleared more property out. We took down a structure that was there that had no relationship to anything. And we're going to revegetate that area. If in fact if it comes down to a question of narrowing up the driveway entrance or giving back some of that or revegetating that area, I'm willing to do anything and everything that the board wants right now to get an approval. We've been waiting for 6 months. I have plans, I have specs, I got a builder ready to go, I have everything ready to go. And I know that I'm not entitled to anything that I'm certainly not entitled to, and I appreciate that. But I am willing, at the mercy of the board, to do anything and everything at this point to make the plan right now and get an approval.
Yeah,
So I'm asking you to consider that, and Matt, I'll defer to you. If you want something that makes a little bit of sense for us to be able to go in there and move the machines around and do what we have to do, and then revegetate even more than we're even proposing to revegetate, I'll do it. I don't want to create any hardships. I don't want to create anybody. I don't want you to approve anything and set a precedent by any means. But on the other hand, I need to get going, or I'd like to get going, and I'm at your mercy. I'll do whatever you want.
What I can offer is, reduce the size of the improvements, or this is not a full development right. It's a portion of one. So I think it would be a reasonably priced development right that you would need to get for 1,852 square feet to land on this property if you're committed to the plan that you have.
Okay,
if we
so
have that information in front of us, I think it would be beneficial for us to review and bring back to the board. And I'm not recommending that the board take any action to that.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I think that there's a way of I was told anyways by Daphne, maybe she can enlighten you on this, that we can narrow up or eliminate the clearing area at the front entrance at the gate area, and eliminate that completely, which I'm more than willing to do.
Mr. Weiner, this is a discussion that you need to have with the planner. We have a full agenda on this board. We have heard you, and we've made our recommendation that you explore a development right in order to do what you want to do. There is a mechanism that's provided in the code for you to accommodate this. That's what we're discussing, and I believe that's the decision of the board. So we really have to move on, but I would make an appointment with Matt and discuss it with him, because I think there's a way out for you. Okay? Thanks very much.
Are you taking this to a vote?
There's no vote. It's a discussion. No.
Oh, no. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. When we, Anthony and Jackie, on these completenesses, let's not get into a discussion of them. Just tell us if it's complete or not, and if we're going to set a hearing. Okay. So you have Thomas and Julie Crowley.
It's a 2-lot subdivision, a final application, and it is incomplete.
Okay. Motion to deem this incomplete.
Motion.
Motion by Gloria and second by
Second.
Craig. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Jackie, are you here?
Yes. Hi, Boeski, this is a 2-lot subdivision. We saw it as a ZBA referral. I'm recommending it be deemed complete and schedule a hearing for December 9th.
Are you keeping track of the December 9th hearings?
I'm not. This is
This
the
would be
first one
number
I've set.
one.
Number 1.
Thanks, Patty.
Okay.
But actually, I have a question, Jackie. I thought my note says it doesn't comply, but you're deeming it complete.
It received a variance for all of the relief necessary. So it is complete. And also this is a pre-app. So we're not deeming the final application complete. We can only deem a final application complete when they have a variance.
Jackie, there's a typo in your resolution is the issue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, your last whereas clause says it does not comply.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to scratch that. Sorry.
Thanks, Kathleen.
So we
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, so motion to deem it complete and schedule a public hearing for December 9 by
Motion.
Glorian, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Jackie, you are the next one.
Yes, Guy Riegler. Yeah, this is complicated. So if we're trying to save time, I will not describe it. But this is a driveway and covenant amendment request between a lot of flag lot properties, south of Castle Hill Road. So, sorry, Castle Hill Court. So we are just setting a public hearing so that the neighbors are aware. And I've been working with Tim McCulley on this. So
Did the lawyers get together? I'm sorry, did the lawyers get together on this one and discuss it?
And that's
Because
good. That helps me.
as I
plan.
recall, at the last
Yeah.
public hearing, wasn't there some confusion with this? Or am I confusing files?
This has not been heard by the planning board before.
Oh,
But
okay,
I
good
do
file, I'm
intend
sorry.
to schedule a meeting with Kathleen and Tim so that we can review it with her before the hearing.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay.
So what's the public hearing that you want to schedule?
This would be the second one I'm proposing for December 9th.
You'll get us some information on it, right?
There's information in the packet and I can go over it now if you'd like.
No.
Okay.
So motion to schedule a public hearing for December 9th. Motion by Gloria and second by Craig, all in favor. Abstention. Is Dennis there? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
He seems,
Five in favor, 1 absent. Dennis. Okay, Anthony, you're on 148 Priscilla.
Yep,
Avenue.
148 Priscilla. We previously deemed the final application incomplete. It was pending health department. We have health department. So I'm just recommending it's for a 2-lot subdivision and they were successful with the ZBA. I'm recommending that we deem the final application complete and waive the hearing with a 30-day written comment period.
Okay.
Why are we waiving the hearing? I'm sorry.
Oh, because there was no public comment at the pre-app and they had one recently at the zoning board as well.
Okay, I just
You
want.
have, yeah, and you have the choice with minor subdivisions if it's consistent with your recommendations to waive the final hearing.
Okay, motion?
Motion
by Gloria, second by Zuccarelli, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 1 absent. Moving on to scheduling.
Number 17, yep, let me just, I'm not going to go through a whole thing, it's simple. So we have, this is the set of pre-submission conference for this property. It's in the LI 40 zone up on Spionk Riverhead Road, you know the area, LI 40, and their application is for a site plan special exception for a total of 24,650 square feet and associated parking. Those are some elevations. You know, building over here and parking. But you'll get the whole spiel at the pre-submission conference. So I'm just recommending that we schedule it for December 9th.
Okay, December 9, so that's number 3.
Yeah, there'll be 4 total for that night.
Okay. And then you have the Verizon Wireless.
So this is the site, you might be familiar on
Sorry,
Bridgehampton.
I don't think I took a vote. Wait a second.
Oh, sorry about that.
So a motion to,
Bathroom, my whimsical room, and this is where you get to go when you're good. This is was the 4th grade
What
classroom,
is
which
that?
is now our kitchen.
someone have a radio on?
There you go, it's better.
So can I have a motion to schedule a December 9th public
Motion.
hearing? Motion by Craig,
second.
second by Gloria, and all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 1 absent. And then we have Verizon Wireless.
Yep. So this is the Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike site. This is, I believe it's in the ownership of the Village of Sag Harbor. You might be familiar with this site. We have the transfer station, I believe is here. Am I right, Claire? Transfer station. So we got an application, a pre-submission conference request for 100 and I believe it's 153-foot high stealth tree monopole, as you could see here. So, and I spoke to the applicant. The team is obviously going to be here for the pre-submission conference. My guess is that the planning board will have a lot of questions about the application. So I would recommend that you schedule the pre-submission conference for December 9th. It's actually 2 actions. It's to deem the site plan special exception application incomplete, but to schedule the pre-submission conference for December 9th.
And have they read the wireless master plan for the town?
I do not know that, but obviously, we're going to get a whole presentation with their team on December 9th, and then we'll have discussions about all the issues as we usually do.
And
Well,
just,
it would be nice to recommend to them that they read that because the
Sure.
site is way over what the master plan recommends.
For sure.
I mean,
does it, does this pre-submission conference start any clock?
No, that's why we're deeming the application incomplete.
Okay.
Okay, can I have a motion now to deem this incomplete? Do you want one motion, Anthony? Or
You
two?
could deem it incomplete and then schedule the pre-submission in one motion, sure.
Okay, so we're deeming it incomplete and scheduling a pre-submission conference by Glorian on December 9th. Motion by Glorian.
Look in the upper left-hand corner. There's a
Oh,
little
okay.
hand there.
John Zuccarelli, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 1 absent. Extensions, Claire, you have loaves and fishes, number 19.
Yes, it's a 90-day extension of submission of plans.
Motion for a 90-day extension by Robin, second by
Second.
Craig, all in favor.
What's the date, Claire?
It's like the November 12th dates, so it would be February 12th.
To
Thank you.
February 12th. Okay, did we take a
And
vote on
Dennis is
that?
back.
A motion for the 90-day extension to
I made the motion. I made the motion, Craig seconded.
Motion by Robin, second by Gloria. Did you second it?
Craig.
I
Craig.
second it.
Craig seconded, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in
And Dennis
favor.
is back.
I'm back.
Back. Okay, back. Claire, an extension on,
Verizon Wireless High Street. This is a 90-day extension for submission of plans, and that is also till February
12th.
2022.
Lots twos.
We have a right motion?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria and second by Dennis, all in favor.
Aye.
Abstention, 6 in favor.
Craig,
Yes.
you go to the bottom where it says shared screen, it says raise hand.
Right.
Click on it. I want to see what happens.
Oh, why are we doing
Right.
that?
See that? You don't have to look around. If they want to raise their hand,
I still
the
have
two
to
people-
look. It's okay, John. I still have to look.
you don't have to scan.
851, head of pond.
Yes, hi. So the applicant has requested a reapproval, which would give them another 2 years. This is a 3-phase project. They're nearly complete with phase 1. They need more time to finish the ag building and the ag handling storage building as well.
Where was this in?
851 head of pond. It's an ag reserve.
Anything change in the neighborhood, in the area that we have to be concerned with? Jackie?
No, nope. It's adjacent to farm fields, and then the owner actually owns the residential lot to the west.
Okay, so nothing has changed substantially that you would be concerned.
Nope, they're finalizing the driveway improvements. They've done the farm stand. They're in construction phase with the agricultural barn. They're waiting on grant funding for the ag handling storage facility, which is where they're gonna basically safely handle any of their farm equipment and,
Okay,
fertilizers, et cetera.
You're comfortable, I'm comfortable.
Comfortable.
Okay, motion on this
Motion.
by Zuccarelli, who has a hand, and second by Gloria. All in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. 6 in favor. We have
Makes
some
it easy.
signed plans to acknowledge. Crocito.
So Crocito needs to be originally signed by Glorian. So Glorian, if you could come in next week, that would be great. So that's off the agenda.
Okay, what about Casola Middle Lot?
Casola, Jackie, you signed this for us. It was the development right for the offsite preservation
Okay.
at 799. So that's
We're
just an acknowledgement.
acknowledging number 23.
Yep.
24, acknowledge the signature on the master plan. Did I sign that one?
No, actually, in this case, they're asking for an extension. So if we could do a resolution to extend for submission of plans for 90 days, please.
Oh, so we don't want acknowledged signature. We want now,
Extension for submission of plans for 90 days.
and that takes us to
Again, I think it's February
2012.
2022, yes.
Okay, motion?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria and second by Robin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention. So this is extending the Bridgehampton Commons for submission plan to February
Subject to the
12th.
fee. Yep.
Priscilla Avenue,
Is off the agenda.
off the agenda. We have to reschedule the public hearing that was for
Yeah.
tonight.
Yes, Jackie, I was just going to introduce that because of the noticing error. This would be a rescheduling to December 9th for Schweon, Fink, and Miller, the lot line modification that was supposed to be heard.
Schweon, Fink, and Miller.
Miller, yes.
To-
The applicant is aware, to December 9th, 2021.
Okay, so that now is 5.
No, that's 4.
This is the 5th, right?
This is the
There?
5th. This is the 5th.
Oh,
So we have 5 applications on for December 9th.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry, this was a noticing error, not on the applicant's part, so we couldn't avoid it, sorry.
okay, so we have 5 applications for December 9th.
Was there a motion on the
Oh,
reschedule?
sorry, for rescheduling for
Schweon, Fink, and Miller.
Schweon, Fink, and Miller to December 9th. By Glorian, motion by Glorian, Robin, second by Glorian, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Okay. Okay, we got through the agenda. It's tight, you know, we have tried to extend the this planning board to start at 1 o'clock, but it's impossible because the town board is occupying the Zoom space. So we are restricted to 2 o'clock. And from 2 to 5, 2, 3, 4, we have very few hours to intelligently review a lot of important applications. So it's important that we try to put off or resolve in some way as much as possible applications that don't take up the time of the planning board to discuss, you know, certain issues. Items we must and items we have to just limit. So that's
Madam
all.
Chair, can we ask applicants to submit information in a more timely fashion if they want to be on our agenda? Like today, I believe it was Bridge Petroleum. I mean, the first time I saw that was when I sat down here.
Right, as John said, Zuccarelli said it came in at about noon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I think that it can't be on the agenda if it comes in like that. We should have this. We've asked the department to give us information by Friday before the planning board.
That would be ideal.
Because there's a lot of reading and analysis to do.
And it's gotten a whole lot better. So
Yes, it has.
You want to make it a policy?
Policy would be great.
But it
Sure.
would have to be consistent. So,
Yeah.
you know, then they can't run to the chair and say, well, for me, can you let me do that? You
They're
know,
not
which is
running to
what
this chair
happens.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some, you know,
The
some
old, the
applicants.
other chair. The
Sometimes
schlump.
we just have to be cognizant
Side.
of the best laid plans, though. I mean, there are action deadlines that unfortunately we'll have to address. We won't be able to not have something on the agenda if there is an action deadline. We can move it, we can request that extension like we did today if we don't get that material, but I just want to make sure everyone appreciates that if it is an action deadline, we can't just move it off the agenda.
Understood.
So when
Right. So there's
when we-
consequences. Like if today, you know, for an example, that was an action deadline for SECRA. So it's either they get us the information or and they don't give us the extension, then there's consequences. You have to deem it incomplete. You have to, say, no, we don't have enough environmental information, so positive declaration. I mean, there's consequences, so.
Right, but those are consequences that, if we're informed of, we can respond to. The whole point is that this is not a process board. We're just not stamping stuff. We have to have discussions about things, just like we did, on the cultural resources. That's our input. And all of that takes time. And as much as I, during an agenda meeting, try to take things off the agenda, limit work sessions, it's still a lot of material. So I don't know what the answer is, but we just have to be aware of this, and we just need, the cooperation of the planning department as well.
And we're not fair to the applicants when we have to rush through to get the agenda complete. So hopefully we can get the applicants to work with us so that we can give them the time that they deserve to listen to the issues.
I agree.
I recommend 10 days because then that means that we can put it in the packet for you.
10?
And that's great when it comes that way, because then I personally have a bunch of days to fit in the hours that I need to review that stuff.
So Friday before is 7 days, right? We request materials from you like on the Friday. So that would give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah, but
I mean, if you don't mind, it's not in the packet because we set the packet at 12. Even though you get it at 4, they have to process.
No, it's important to have the packet because that's all of the substance of the application.
So
That's
if
what we're reading.
If you need 10 days to make sure that it gets in the packet, then
something's off there.
That's what you need. So.
Well, we need a couple days before the packet is processed to upload and save everything.
Right. So, that.
So maybe it's not 10 days, but 8 days.
Maybe it's 8 days. Noon on Wednesday.
Figure it out and figure what you can do. I mean, because you're also at the effect of this when an applicant comes in and gives you stuff and says, I want it on the for the board meeting, and you haven't processed it. We haven't seen it.
Do you have is there a checklist that's given to the applicants of what they have to give?
Yes, the completion. Yeah.
And we're not talking about completeness items.
No, I'm not. I'm talking.
We're talking about deadlines.
Yeah. And
yeah.
All I'm suggesting is that when things are in writing, okay, so every time somebody comes in, they want to do an application, they're told that if you want to be considered for the next meeting, you'll have to get everything in by this date. And so they're pre-warned and they become responsible and not you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to take it off of you, the planning department, and put it on the applicant, and the responsibility on the applicant to get the stuff in a timely manner.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not fair to you either, Claire. It's not fair to the planners. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to the applicants. It's not just fair to anybody. But what people know up ahead, and they know in advance, they're going to be more apt to adjust for it.
Mm-hmm.
And crises will happen, and that we deal with. But if we can get the majority of the stuff in a way that works for everybody in the process.
Yeah.
Including the applicant.
Okay. So I recommend Wednesday before noon. That lets us have 24 hours to review it before we put it in the packet on Friday morning.
Okay, so materials need to be to you 10 days before to the planning department in order
That
to
would
get
be
on
8
the agenda.
days.
8
That
days.
would be 8 days.
Wednesday, Thursday.
But we could just do 8.
Friday,
We
you don't
could say
count the
the end of the
weekend,
day,
right?
Friday, Wednesday too. It's up to you. Then it gives us Thursday.
Including supporting documents, i.e. traffic reports.
Yeah,
Traffic reports. Environmental reports, right?
Yeah.
Which we want to get to the, conservation to take a peek at, and engineering, take a peek, engineering plans. We can make a little list.
I think you need Wednesday, you know,
Yeah.
stuff to you by Wednesday. You can work on it and review it Wednesday, Thursday, upload it to us on Friday.
Mhm.
Still, I mean, it's still a push for us, but, and that's, we've asked for any of the larger reports to just send to us as quickly as you get them. It
Sure.
gives us more time to review them. I mean, I just don't think, it's unfortunate that the public doesn't realize the amount of work that goes into the planning board and what we're responsible for.
And that the regulatory boards are not, you know, these are not easy positions. These are highly skilled positions and with great deal of learning curves. To be on these boards, and we're making decisions that affect people's their property rights, their business rights, and everything else. We take it seriously, you know, and I don't think that, you know, it's quite understood.
Right.
Policy in writing for the next time.
I like that.
Yeah, I
Yes,
love.
why don't you write something up?
Yeah.
Also, we had talked about a policy for work sessions that Janice was supposed to prepare, but I haven't seen it.
So I'm just recommending no, unless you see an application come in that you think a work session is warranted. We just say no. I've been saying no.
What do you
to
mean
people.
saying no to what?
Because work sessions.
I just said submit an application.
2 hours of our agenda.
Yeah.
Before we get to the regular substance of the agenda.
Correct.
You know what it is with work sessions, you get, it's all real estate investors. They want to get a sense and a pulse of what they can and cannot do. And it's all, you know, it's burning up a lot of our time. And then they walk away from the deal or they modify the deal. That's not what we're here for.
No.
The work sessions after an application is placed in, so that we can, if it's.
Make an application. Pay your fee.
Pre-application, pre-submission.
Yeah.
That's the
I
right
believe that's what
method.
Janice has said, make the application, you know, and then we'll discuss it through that regular process.
I agree with Dennis. It shouldn't be a fishing thing for us to be advising them whether they should be proceeding or not proceeding.
Yeah.
That's the water. I agree with Dennis completely on that.
And then we have something to read before we start having the conversation. As opposed to at a work session, we're being thrown at all this data and information and trying to absorb and react. So it would be much more, for me, better if I had something to look at beforehand.
And along those lines, as a segue, I mean, way back several years ago, I requested a paragraph or two on what the public hearing applications were about, so that we are not totally blank about what the public hearing is about. Because in some instances, we don't know anything about it. And so some description, and we did that for a while. Claire, do you remember? And then it stopped. So if
Yeah,
we
you can do that.
Reinstitute.
Pre-hearing reports for pre-submissions and pre-applications.
Right, for public hearings. That would be helpful. Anything else? This is such a good board, you know, it's a real hardworking board. Much appreciated.
And it takes years. I'm just starting to get really comfortable that I know what the hell's going on.
Well, it's a long learning curve, right, Dennis?
Yeah, I'm still learning.
I'm still learning too.
Learning every day.
And the plan.
Conversely, I think I figured it out in 2 weeks.
Craig.
You're super smart, Craig.
You have to try harder.
Right. All right, so we have now, our next is a special hearing on November 10th at 6 o'clock.
Wednesday, yep.
It's a Wednesday, so put it in your book.
Yeah.
And you'll send us stuff, whatever we need.
Yeah.
Claire, is there an agenda meeting on the 2nd or not?
No, that's election day. So in this case, maybe you and I would go over the agenda since it's already set. We could just talk about the order.
Okay.
You know.
You'll call me or email me?
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way, but I'll be in touch.
Okay, and then we do have an agenda meeting on the 9th?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Right, okay.
Okay.
And then
And
it's
speaking of-
Turkey Day, then it's Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So,
And
Exactly.
all right.
speaking of election day, don't forget to vote next Tuesday if you haven't voted early.
Polls are open at 6 a.m. So, motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Dennis, a second by Ron.